They'll come in. We're gonna get this thing rolling in just a second. I want to go ahead and start getting into it. For my people that come to YouTube, guys, make sure you click the notification bell. Make sure you go ahead and like, share, and comment on tonight's broadcast. Once again, click that notification bell, like, share, and comment on tonight's broadcast. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the Newstoter YouTube channel. Make sure if you're on Twitter, you also follow Newstoter on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest as well too. We cover it all from news, entertainment, lifestyle, culture, sports, education, business, the whole gambit. So definitely make sure if you want to stay up to date on breaking Black news and Black America today, that you go ahead and you follow Newstoter on all those platforms. Also, make sure you visit newstoter.com daily. Newstoter.com, NEWSTOTER.com. Make sure that you become a avid reader on the Newstoter website, Black-owned curation platform, the largest in America today, the largest Black American news curation platform today. And this is a topic that I want to touch up on, guys. I wanted to, go ahead and get things rolling. I want to touch up on this. Tomorrow night, we're going to supposed to have an interview with a Black farmer in Atlanta who's going through some situations down there. He's having to deal with all kind of discrimination and land theft, allegedly. So I do say allegedly. He's going to be on tomorrow night. So tonight we want to talk about the diaspora wars, whether you want to say the African diaspora, the Black diaspora, whatever diaspora you want to talk about, whether you want to call it wars or just beefs. It seems to persist online, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. We constantly seem to have people jabbing back and forth, going back and forth, back and forth. Just when you think it's over with, it seems to rear its ugly head once again. And I mean, damn, you can't. I mean, is this what it's all about? Just this back and forth, back and forth. And I found something the other day, and I commented in the actual post as well to a bunch of the people that may be in the space tonight. They also yeah, dark and lovely. That's Newstoter's. No. So that's Eldridge Cleaver on the actual picture. Like, I don't know, like that's Eldridge Cleaver on the actual picture tonight. So that's the brother Eldridge Cleaver. Dark and lovely. She's on YouTube, and she see Eldridge Cleaver picture up there. No, that's Eldridge Cleaver. But yeah, we just constantly seem to have this back and forth, back and forth. I have absolutely no idea why we have this, but we're having this, so I want to definitely go ahead and talk about it, address it, or whatever. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get into it, and see what's going on. And if you guys saw this post that was actually was circulating the other day, you had this sister, I believe she was South African sister. And she had this, and I have it up there in the Jumbotron as well, too, guys. I also have the poll up in the Jumbotron. Is there such thing as a diaspora wars? You guys make sure you go ahead and you comment on that as well, too. But yeah, DJ look like you got my profile as well, too. So we're gonna have to switch profiles up or whatever. So you got my profile somehow over there as a moderator on YouTube. So we're gonna have to switch that up. But yeah, I want to just check out and read this, what this sister said. She's the Twitter user Be Humble. Be Humble is her name. And let me read this real quick, what Be Humble says. And you guys, I want y'all to take a look at the actual picture up in the Jumbotron. It's the second or third on the right-hand side. And this is from the other day. She was like, I just wonder if Black American girls have these kind of breasts without help of plastic surgery. And oh Lord, when she went ahead and she said this, like all hell just broke loose. Everything just broke loose. Like she put this thing has over 526 reposts, 2,422 quotes, 6,927 likes, over 1,700 bookmarks. I believe it's been seen 7.1 million views. To say that this actual post went viral is an understatement for what this sister said. South African sister now. And her and from what she was saying, that she was just striking up a conversation. She didn't mean anything by it. Yeah, if you're gonna show a topless African sister up here and you're saying, well, basically she has these perfect tatas, and can Black American women get it without any plastic surgery? That's gonna kind of piss a lot of people off. So I'm gonna read some of the comments here that we got. Okay. Black and I am Richie I says Black American women in mass don't get plastic surgery. Then she said, you're exempted from this. Americans had nearly 14 million cosmetic procedures last year, spending 10.1 billion in the process on Botox injections, breast implants, buttocks, lips, and nose jobs. Okay, Just B said our breasts look better. Then Lady said, okay, good. Yeah, another sister said, I just wonder why we live rent-free in y'all's head. Oh, that's right, y'all want to be us. Another sister came back. Yeah, disregard the girl in the back. Where are yours? People, then you had a bunch of guys saying the only way we can resolve this is, to get a view of both of y'all or whatever. So this sister, she posts this topless African sister up here talking about how real her breasts are, and I guess trying to, you can't say you're not trying to start something by actually having this. EJ asked, why did you single out Black American women? And that's real. It's always just a question, nothing to be mad about. Yeah, it's just a question, but you felt the need to go ahead and put Black American women's name in it. She says, let's read somebody else. Let me actually click on this one because I want to actually, like I said, I want to read these actual comments. It is a dumb ass question, which ultimately just reveals the envy and hate which you regard FBA. You have a colonized mind, dear. This is what Troll Thumper said. Let's see what D said. They do, but they choose to get implants. I don't understand why. Maybe they want them bigger. Candace, the Leo said, what the F is wrong with you people? Shaking my head. Pedo culture at its finest. You people are sick weirdos. Had somebody else, Carba, I guess is the said they will say we're obsessed with them. If you're not obsessed with them, why are you sitting up here wondering about why don't a group of women on one side of the world have breasts like another group of women on another side of the world? The whole thing was just to start some trivial tribal type BS. I mean, I don't think most women are checking for other women's breasts, but I could be wrong. I'm not a woman. It says, be humble. The same one who started said, must we travel now to see other people's breasts? It's not that deep. Hey, sister, if it's not that deep, why start an actual post? Why not? You could have started a post and just talked and complimented African women on their breasts. What was the point? What was the reason of actually putting Black American women's breasts into comparing them to, I guess, what you consider a picture perfect photo of breasts? So we also had this other cat, African cat, and he saw old it was an old clip of Nick Cannon's show. What is Nick Cannon's show? I can't think of Nick Cannon's show. The show where they always getting on each other, cracking on each other, whatever. The African dude, and they had Michael Blackson, African, up there, and he was trying to he took bits and clips of it, and he was saying that the Black Americans was treating Michael Blackson wrong because they were cracking on him. They were saying Michael Blackson was ugly and he was nappy head and he was black and this and that and what. Even though the show is all about ranking on people, all about cracking on people, he went ahead and he took little bits and pieces, uploaded to his TikTok, and then he puts it on the internet so everybody can see. And now he's displaying that, hey, Black Americans are attacking Africans and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting up here saying, Jesus, how long does this trivial stuff go along? Like every day you see shots going back and forth. Personally, I have no issue with anybody in the diaspora, no matter where they're at, whether they're in the Caribbean, in Africa, Australia, Europe, Asia, wherever they at. I wish these people the best of lives. I definitely want to see them get it because I do feel like a global partnership is something that would strengthen us. But at the same time, people pretty much they tend to go ahead and worry about home first and foremost. So that's not just an American thing. That's a human thing. People are going to go ahead and worry about and try to do for those that live next to them, those that's related to them, those that's closest to them. So, I don't get this. I don't understand this right here. I don't understand why this sister would sit up here And I saw Rerod, I saw you also post on that too, and you asked the sister like, "Are you gay or something like that?" Because it was the craziest thing. You got a sister sitting up here on the other side. I believe she's South African, sitting up here with a topless picture of a woman and asking other women, "Are you? Can you get breasts that look this good if you don't have plastic surgery?" So I mean that when people say living rent free in somebody's head, that's exactly where the phrase comes from. Because nobody's gonna post a picture up here and ask you that same question, vice versa. And if they do, a lot of people are gonna be looking at them like, "Hey, what's going on in your mind? What are you thinking about?" So we back. We had a space not too long ago in a broadcast where we were talking about you had a significant amount of the Diaspora population said, hey, they got tired of the word tether. They felt that it was offensive. And, once again, on Twitter, we have this thing coming back. Dark and Lovely says, Black women on average look better than African women, just facts. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I'm a Black American, so I'm used to seeing Black American women up close and personal. That's my preference. But everybody has a right to choose what they want to choose, whatever. I'm not going to sit up here and harbor anything. I'm sure that no matter where you're from, what land you're from, people assume that their women are the most gorgeous women on earth, and they should assume that. They should feel that. That's their right to feel that. I'm not going to sit up here and I'm not going to disrespect anybody and say, well, my women look better, whatever. Even though I may personally feel that way, personally I do feel that way. But like I say, I would be lying if I didn't say I was biased. But this diaspora thing is heating up every single solitary day. You got people sitting up here posting pictures of Black Americans as bullet bags. You got, Black Americans sometimes even having pictures of, over there showing impoverished areas of Africa and stuff. It's just like, is this productive for us as a people? With all of the things that we're talking about trying to do in terms of reparations, in terms of group economics, in terms of strengthening our bases and everything else, getting politically intelligent. Do we have time to worry about a diaspora war? Do we have time to worry about diaspora? Are Black Americans are they the instigators of this? Or are they, who's really inciting this stuff? Is this thing just an online thing as well too? Is it just something that's online? Because a lot of people say, hey, you're here in the real world, we don't have these back and forths. We don't have these beefs and stuff like that. This is something that's just on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or whatever. I can actually say where I live at, I don't see a whole lot of Africans. I am in Florida, so in North Florida, so I do see Caribbean Black people as well too. But a lot of people say that this is just something that is almost a troll type thing that goes on back and forth. We understand that people do harbor resentment. There is resentment, even though people say, you don't have this in the real world or whatever. There is resentment outside of these actual social media sites. There's always been talk about this group or that group amongst another group. So you have to be real about it. Here in Florida, we've heard the actual saying of people from the Caribbean, people from Africa saying, Black Americans are lazy, this and that. Black Americans have said things about other people as well too. But we're in 2023 going into 2024. Do we really, really, really have time for this? Because like I say, we need to be about our business over here in America. We need to go ahead and take care and secure what we can over here, get our dollars up. And we need to start globally moving in terms of creating a global market where we can make money any and every place in the world. The same way everybody else has these corporations that go throughout the world and profit and make money. I think we as Black Americans, before we can go abroad, we need to handle here first. But we need to go ahead and start setting up multinational corporations right here in America as well too, that these major white corporations have as well. So my thing here is that, hey, it doesn't seem like this diaspora thing is going to stop, because like I say, I could read these comments all day. The brother that was sitting up here talking about Michael Blatson, he used Michael Blatson as an example to say that Black Americans was picking on Michael Blatson because he was African and talking about how he looked and his features and stuff. Michael Blatson picks on his own self. If you've ever seen Michael Blatson's comedy, he always starts off with his African accent, and he talks this and that, and he goes in or whatever. Next thing you know, he's speaking English better than anybody in this space, and he's talking to like to say Michael Blackson that people were picking on him. Hey, you were on the show basically like the dozens where everybody's going in on everybody. It's not that serious, and I think we need to kind of acknowledge certain things as well too. Black Americans are not sitting up here in 2023 calling Africans African booty scratchers. That was a term, and that people saw when what movie was that? Boys in the Hood came out. Boys in the Hood came out in 1991. Okay, in 1991, nobody was walking around saying African booty scratchers. The scene on Boys in the Hood when they said African booty scratcher, the movie was made in 1991. They act like back in 1984, the actual scene on the movie when they were all young kids. That's when they actually said that. That's when the person actually said that. And here's another thing people forget. Black people, Black Americans was actually calling each other that more so than they was calling the African that, simply for the fact that it was more Black people in the country, Black Americans and Africans. Black Americans were calling other Black Americans African booty scratchers. And that's not to sit up here and make it right or say it was right or whatever. But when people start saying, I hear people lying sometimes saying, I was in college, and I'm like, man, you were not in college. Nobody walking around in the 90s that I can remember in Florida was walking around calling people African booty scratchers. They certainly weren't calling them that in the 2000s. So, if people harbor this type of resentment, like I said, on Boys in the Hood, that scene, when you had those kids, the movie came out in 91, and the actual scene they act like was in 1984. Then they fast forward 7 years later in 1991. So they're saying back because when I heard the term African booty scratcher, it was in the mid to late 80s. Like I said, nobody in the 90s was saying that. Nobody in the 90s, oh yeah, you're an African booty scratcher. I mean, no. I mean, real talk. I was in middle school, elementary, all through that time. When people got to middle school, nobody was saying that. And like I said, the people that actually got the worst of it were actually Black Americans. Because like I said, I don't think I ever went to school with an actual African that I can remember. And if I did, I certainly didn't know. And if I did, like I said, it was the actual Black Americans that were actually calling each other these names. Black Americans picked at each other more than they picked at anybody else. So I just find this ridiculous. I'm gonna try to find a Michael Blackson thing as well too, but you got constant. And then I see these cats on TikTok. Some of these guys be on TikTok. African cat, and he was sitting up here talking about, and I don't know what the hell. TikTok is one of these now. TikTok people just going on TikTok making videos, talking noise, talking about Black people, Black Americans this, Black Americans that. So I tell our people, man, don't feed into this stuff right here. Don't feed into the negativity. This stuff, when we always talk about side distractions, we always talk about stuff that they actually take our focus away. That's what a lot of this stuff is for. A lot of these people have nothing else better to do. They want attention. They want clout. They want eyeballs on them. They sitting up here. The cat, Anton Daniels, I think it was, and he was sitting up here the other week. He had a YouTube video. I know he has a big YouTube following. He was talking about reparations, and I don't know if Antoine is a Black American or he's a Caribbean American or whatever he is. But I know he was sitting up here saying, "Hell no, I ain't gonna give no reparations. I hope y'all don't get no reparation. I hope they don't give us no reparations." So I don't know if this guy was actually Black American or not. But for the simple fact that this dude was sitting up here whining and crying and everything else, I mean, I started hearing a lot of these Black people sitting up here saying that. I don't give them any heat. I will say I did respond into the actual comment with the lady that had there talking about Black women breasts and stuff like that. And I did respond that, hey, I've seen better, which not to be a jerk, but I have seen better. Like, you may think that those are the greatest pair in the world, but I've seen better. So, and that's no disrespect to the sister that was up there. They had the picture of. That was just my personal opinion. I've seen better. So that's where we at tonight, man. We're talking about this African diaspora war. I want our people to come up here also, share their opinions, share their thoughts on social media. What's going on? Is this thing just a social media thing? Is this thing a real, actual real thing? Do you have any issues in real life with anybody that's in the diaspora? Are you going back and forth? Are you cool with people in the diaspora? Is it just something that, like I say, just a Twitter thing, a Facebook thing, an Instagram thing, a YouTube thing? Everybody is in that group and they do their thing or whatever. We do our thing as well too. So like I say, I don't wish any harm or ill will on anybody whatsoever. I like to see everybody come up and do what they can, but at the same time, when people talk about tribalism, you know, it's something that actually seems like it's actually taking place online. You know, we clicked up, everybody's clicked up, and it's like, hey, if you take a shot at my people, I'm gonna take a shot at your people as well too. And right or wrong, we're seeing more and more of that. You know, I'm just not gonna sit up here and just insult a group of people or whatever, but then I'm not gonna let a group of people just insult my people as well too. So it's one of those things, you know. I just want to get everybody's opinion on this or whatever. How you guys feel? I may read a couple more comments as well too about this actual diaspora thing, because like I say, it's not a day that go by where you're not hearing this about black people and this is black Americans, this and that, Caribbean people that. It's a back and forth, man. It is really a back and forth, and you know, it doesn't seem like it's going to lighten up anytime. You can truly almost have a space on this every day and talk about this, and you would have people, that would be chiming in and giving their opinions about it. So I just wanted to go ahead because I've been seeing an increase of this. I thought it was kind of, not dying off, but kind of tailing off a little bit. But no, man, this thing is full fledged. It hasn't gone away any bit. Do we have any people in the actual space, that may be from the diaspora, that may not be Black American, that may want to come up here and speak as well, to share their thoughts, share their feelings. We'll definitely allow you to come up here and speak. It's respect up in the space or whatever. I know a lot of people feel like, hey, I can't come into certain spaces and say how I really feel because the entire room would turn on me, but that's not the case. I definitely always give people a chance to come up here, speak, and say what they got to say. Um, because hey, it's not an echo chamber, and everybody has different views and different opinions. As long as you're being respectful, I don't care. I don't really care what you say or whatever. But I know there's a sentiment. There's a sentiment right now going around that Black Americans are really the ones that have actually fostered this this diaspora beef type thing. Whenever you hear a lot of people speak ill about the actual attitudes towards other Black people, it seems like Black Americans to a certain degree are the ones that's being actually kind of paraded out there and seen as the actual face of a lot of these beefs and these issues and stuff like that. And then when other groups do say things, people from their group really don't say anything and criticize them or whatever either. So it's kind of just becoming one of those things that it's like, hey, basically you guys know better, y'all should do better. Let them say what they want to say. At the same time, we're not going to check our group. We're not going to tell our group, hey, you're going too far. You shouldn't be saying this. You shouldn't be saying that. We're going to pretty much let them say and do whatever they want to do. So, I mean, that's not going to happen nowadays for the most part. People are going to speak up. People are going to say things. So, yeah, we definitely, like I said, I see a bunch of our people up in the space. I see my boy Ray up in here. Ray, I know you're probably on the books as well, too. So shout out to somebody. I see Black Pressure up in here. And Black Pressure, I know you up in the area, much like myself, where it's a heavy immigration population as well too. So I want to get people that's in the actual that live in a heavy immigration population. I want to get some people that may be from the diaspora. I just want to get some people that may have a relationship with anybody that may that may not be Black American. Just anybody that has any opinions or anything that they want to share in this space tonight, because this ain't gonna be a long space, guys. This diaspora thing, like I said, it keeps popping off, it keeps going off. So I definitely want to hear what folks got to say about this thing tonight. I definitely want to hear what everybody's got to say about this tonight. I see DJ coming up in the space as well too. So, and I know DJ's up in the area in New Jersey, and that's a popular. When you think about New Jersey, a lot of people think about New York as well too, and the heavy immigration population they have up there as well too. But yeah, we'll see what he has to say. I'm not sure if he's up in the space yet or not. But what's up, DJ? Can you hear me? Let me see. What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, this thing got this delay and it was good. Newstoter family, how y'all feeling tonight? Shout out to the room, share the room out. What's going on?
Nothing much, man. I was just leading into this actual discussion tonight about the diaspora wars, the diaspora beefs, and like I said, I know you up there in New Jersey, and what New Jersey in terms of the actual diaspora? Are you guys? Do you have a heavy concentration of Africans or Caribbean brothers up there?
Everything is up here. Everything is up here. Everything and everybody is up here. I mean, it's the tri-state area, so this is why they say America is a nation of immigrants, because everybody and their mama be flooding through Ellis Island or coming through whatever border they want to come through. So this is where they come at to set up shop, and then once they get established, they start spreading out.
Let me just ask you real quick, in terms of the relationship that we see online, we see everything is kind of volatile. We see a lot of trading back, a lot of insults back and forth and stuff, as compared to, in the real world, I'll say, so to speak, offline. Is it the same kind of relationship up there in New Jersey, or is this just more of an online type thing, in your opinion?
Combination of both. Online as far as, you got certain folks as far as like the diaspora now, us Black Americans saying, hey, look, we ain't got no culture. Black Americans this, that, and the third. Black Americans this, that, and the third. Black Americans this, that, and the third. Damn, we must stay on your mind like it's a nightmare or something. I never forget one day, like I told y'all, I took my aunt to a doctor's appointment one day. So dude in there talking to another guy, I think he might have been Black American, could be wrong or not. But he was saying to him, like, yeah, I can't mess with these Black Americans, man. They used to pick on me so much, you know what I mean? Call me African booty scratcher and everything. And I just looked at this dude, I said, man, this motherfucker excuse my French, but this guy got to be at least like 40 years old. You still dwelling on that?
This dude lying his tail off. Ain't nobody calling him no African booty scratcher.
And I said to myself, but now look, even with that being said, I said to myself, because we used to go in on these jokes back in the day. We used to go in on everybody. Like you said, we used to call ourselves African booty scratcher. So there ain't nothing to us to call another Black person the same thing, especially when we see y'all on TV, feed the children, y'all picking y'all nose and eating y'all boogers and scratching y'all butt. So it's like, that's what they were showing us. So don't get mad at us, just like they be showing y'all all the Fresh Prince stuff, all the 227, all the good times. That's how y'all think we roll and how y'all act. So it's like, not to say that's a stigma, but that's just an indoctrinated impression of how a certain group of demographic of people act.
Let me read a couple comments on YouTube, not YouTube, but Twitter real quick. So 504 says, Wild and Out. Okay, that was the name of Nick Cannon's show. I couldn't think. I'm like, damn, what's the show? They be cracking on each other all the time. Mark said, it'll never stop. Carlos says we need to ignore them because they're not relevant unless they ride our coattails. I know another issue that we have too, and I see online that a lot of times it's a discussion of blackness. When it comes to blackness, a lot of our brothers and sisters in America feel like that they're the only class of Black people in the world. And then you have other Caribbean, African brothers say, hey, we're Black as well too. We're just a different group. We're just a different, a different ethnic group or whatever, being Black or whatever. So we have this issue as well too, because I know people say, well, the concept of race really took roots here in America, and a lot of Black people from the diaspora, when they come over to America, they're not Black until they actually get here, because when they're in their homelands, they don't identify or see themselves as Black. They just see themselves as what they are, whether they're Nigerian or Ethiopian or whatever. And it's not till they actually come to America that they say, hey, you know what? And they get a dose of what it is to be in America or living in America. They say, okay, well, I'm Black too. So what's the issue with people on that? Like, because me, I personally feel like, hey, they are Black. They're not a Black American, but they are Black. Because right now at this time and point, you got people say we're delineating. Well, if you're delineating, that means that you're differentiating yourself from another group of people. The reason you differentiate yourself from other people, from other Black people, is because, hey, they're Black. If they were white, you wouldn't need to delineate. If they were Latinos, you wouldn't need to delineate. Like people say, you know what? When a crime gets committed, a lot of times they just put Black on there and we get blamed for this and that or whatever. So I don't have an issue with people saying, people from the continent, people from Caribbean say they're Black, because to me, they are Black. They're just not Black American, but they are Black. Stephanie, what's going on with you? And I know you up there in New York too, right, Stephanie?
Yeah, hey, yes, bro. Hey, hold on real quick, Stephanie. I'm going to let you cook, but I just want to say this. Define Black first. Let's start there. But go ahead, Stephanie.
How you doing? I just want to say thank you for having the space. It's a combination of both, as far as it being on the internet and as far as it being in actual life. Okay, this is another case of throwing the stone and hiding your hands. Okay, people can say things and do things to you, but then when you turn around and retaliate and say some of the most vile things back that you have been receiving for many years, then it's okay. You're a hate group. You hate us. Why do you hate us? Why do you don't like us? Oh, we're going to sign a petition. What people don't understand is that these people have been doing this for years. Okay? Long before Black folks started saying anything, Black people, Black Americans were chilling. Now, a lot of these people did not consider themselves Black. And I know firsthand because I had an argument with two sisters. One was from Barbados, the other one was from Jamaica. Okay? Both named Jennifer. They both told me to my face that they were not Black. So since when is it okay to say, well, I'm Black now. I'm Black. You didn't want to be associated with Black.
Why
you bothering me, DJ? But how do you go from not considering yourself Black to considering yourself Black? You know how many times I heard many of them say that? Well, I'm not Black. I'm not really Black. I look Black, but I'm not Black. Or no, I'm not Black. I'm from this part of the country. I'm from that part. Oh, I'm not Black. I'm Nigerian. Oh, I'm not Black. I'm Ghanaian. Oh, I'm from this tribe. You know, and that's all we heard. So, okay, people are like, well, listen, if you're not Black, we're not forcing it on you. You're not Black. We're not going to bother you with it, and we ain't going to force it on you. Now, all of a sudden, it's, I'm Black. You think y'all the only Black people here. Y'all think y'all the only Black people. So this is what we constantly hearing. It's like picking and choosing when you want to be Black. You can't have the best of both worlds. And Black Americans were the only group of people that considered themselves Black in the first place. We accepted our Blackness. You know what I'm saying? We was never ashamed of being Black. Unless it was somebody that was white passing. But other than that, we always accepted our Blackness. And as far as other people, they didn't consider themselves Black. Oh, I'm Swiss. Okay, you're Swiss and you're, okay. Oh, no, I'm not Black, I'm Swiss. Oh, I'm not Black, I'm British. Oh, I'm not Black, I'm this, I'm that. We've been dealing with it for years. Now, as far as the mentality of the beef going on, here in New York, we're dealing with people that's groomed in tribalism. And hold on for 1 second, okay?
Okay, go ahead. We'll come back to you. Stephanie makes some very valid points. I hope we can get it back because I know Stephanie probably on the grind right now as well too. But she's right. A number of people didn't consider themselves Black, and I said that before. A number of them didn't until they actually came here, and they actually understood what it was to actually be labeled as Black. And you're right, Black Americans always consider themselves, for the most part, Black. You know, of course, you'll have some people say, well, I'm this and I'm that or whatever. But for the most part, Black Americans always consider themselves Black. And they've been the actual, I guess you could say, I don't know if you want to say the cross bearer or the flag bearer of Blackness throughout the world. But, you know, they have been that. So I can imagine in New York, and I want to see when she comes back, what's the actual relationship up there? Because like I said, we know online is one thing. And a lot of people say, you know what, online is one thing, but you know, we don't have these issues face to face. So in a
relationship, bro.
You say no relationship?
No, not and it can't be no relationship if up here in the cities and in the tri-state areas, you got the Mexican section, the Asian section, Chinatown, Little Havana, Dominicans. You know what I'm saying? They got their own. Everybody got their own shit.
But I'm talking about I'm just talking about maybe the Black immigrants or the black immigrants. So we know the other ones, yeah.
Got a little Haiti up there too.
Y'all got a little Haiti up. I know we got a little Haiti in Miami.
Yeah, you got all that up here too. You know what I mean? The Nigerians, they doing their thing. They over here heavy. So add it up, man. Where's Blacktown at? Where's Black City? Where's Black neighborhood? Anybody know that?
But here's the thing. If you create, say, a chocolate city or a little Black America or a brown sugar, whatever you want to call it, then everybody in the country that does have pigment that is labeled by the United States as Black will feel like, hey, you know what? Well, this is a place for us as well too. Now that's not the same thing. You're right. If you come to little Haiti, they're gonna say, "Hey, you're not Haitian or whatever." But if you was to have a little Black America or whatever chocolate city, everybody will come in and they say, "You know what? Well, we're black. Well, we're considered black by America." The first thing they'll say, if the police stops us, they'll say that we black as well too. So we got a right to be here. We got a right to do this and do that as well too. So you will see an actual difference. If you did have something like that set up and build or whatever, people say, "Hey, you know what? We black just like y'all." Stephanie, you back? She may still. Stephanie, I know.
No, if you can get back to me. I gotta finish what I'm saying.
Okay.
Get back to me in about a couple of minutes. Thank you.
We'll get back to you. I see Original up in here, and we got Arthur up in here too. And Arthur's in Chicago, so that's interesting. And we definitely got some Black people up in here that's in some major metropolitan areas as well too. Like I said, I'm here in Florida. And I grew up with a number of Caribbean cats and stuff like that, and I was cool with a number of them. Some of them I didn't like, but I was cool with a number of them as well too. But you did have that talk, because like I said, I knew quite a few of them, and I asked them what their parents thought about Black Americans, and to my surprise, they weren't shy to tell you exactly how their parents and their grandparents and stuff viewed Black Americans, even though they came to the country and they benefited. Whatever little scraps you can get as a Black person, they benefited from that as well too. So they weren't exactly shy to tell you exactly how they felt about Black Americans and stuff like that as well too. Shout out, I see more and more of our people coming up in the space. I see Miss Lisa up in here. Shout out to Miss Lisa. What's up, Black Majority State? I see you up in here. And Infinite as well too. So shout out to you guys that's coming up in the space as well. We're talking about the beef and the online wars and the back and forth, the jabbing and what's going on with the diaspora, so to speak, or whatever. And right now I'm talking about Blackness as well too. How do we define Blackness? Is Blackness something that's just a Black American thing? Because some of our people feel like, hey, other Black people shouldn't call themselves Black. I'm not like that. I personally feel like, hey, it was started here in Black America. I mean, it was started here in America for the most part in terms of being identified, using that to identify a certain group of people. We've taken it or whatever. Other people, as they come over here, they're forced to actually accept being Black or whatever as well too. But I look at it as I look at a Jamaican person, a Haitian person, a African as being Black. Now, do I consider them being Black American? No, but I consider them being Black. But some of our people say they're not Black. I don't know exactly what they would be if they're not Black, because I think DJ, you said define what that is. I'll define it like this right here, what it is to be Black. I define that if you were over in the United States doing slavery time and they put shackles on you and they said that you're a slave, then by law you would be Black. That's what I look at. If you at the time doing slavery and you were they say, hey, you're a slave, you're a Negro or whatever they called you, hey, you're darky or whatever, then I would consider that as being Black. I would consider if doing segregation, if you had to go to school with a number of Black people, the regular Black people, I would consider that being Black. So that's my definition of what it is to be Black. You got it, DJ. Let me read this real quick what Bash M said. Bash M said this on YouTube. Bash M says, no group ever called themselves Black except Black Americans. Black Americans are the only Black people. They're whatever they are. And that's what I'm saying. Bash is just letting you know that a number of Black people feel that. They feel like, hey, we are the only Black people in the world. And if you feel that way too, hey, I'm not going to try to change you. I'm not going to try to stop you. Basham says, what do they call themselves? I guess a lot of times they call themselves whatever the nationality from their country was. I mean, if you got a lot of Nigerians say I'm Nigerian and Ethiopians and vice versa. So, hey, I'm not disagreeing with you. Some of them come over here. I have known some Caribbean Black people to say, hey, I'm Black. I mean, they may call themselves Jamaican or Haitian, but they look at themselves as being Black. But you're right, a number of them don't. So, and I want to know what the Black Americans in here feel too also about that. Do you consider the people from the diaspora Black? Or do you consider them something else? You know, that's also interesting. I see Black Pressure came up here. Now, Black Pressure, I know you hardly never you come up here, but you don't never hardly speak no more. You just kind of be like, I know you be back and forth from working and stuff like that. So if you get a chance to speak, I want to hear what you got to say tonight as well too, because you up there, like I said, you in Texas too. So I know you with a lot of the Mexicans and stuff around. A lot of Mexicans live around you and stuff like that. But I still want to hear what you got to say about that as well too. You got it, Pressure.
You working 20 hours and one a day. Shit, I'm working that graveyard.
Yeah, DJ, you're real funny, nigga. What's up, Black fam?
What up? What up?
Man, look, so I give my little spiel real quick, and I'm gonna just mute up and listen and come back later on. But you asked a great question though, Luke. Like, what is Black, right? I know a lot of people probably won't like it, but it's not hard, and everybody makes great points. But it sounds like we're arguing ethnicity over race. Like, a lot of people, I've heard Black people from different parts of the world that say I'm not Black. Me being in Texas, I've heard that many times from like African and Caribbean people. But when people say that, they're 100% of the time referring to I'm not a Black American, right? When people say that, but it's not hard. So if any Black person sticks their arm out and gives their blood and it gets sent off to any type of like DNA laboratory, I bet you every dollar that I have in the bank, you're going to come back to a member of haplogroup L. That's what you're going to come back to. Straight to I say the whole continent of Africa. Even many of us will have the Eve gene, the Adam gene, the earliest traces of the modern human being you can find. So, like when you say Black, when you say somebody is Black, yeah, we might not be all American Black, but genetically, you're always going to go back to the continent of Africa. So, I'll mute up and listen.
All right, thank you, Pressure. And I agree with you saying. I think a lot of people but when you say Black, they think automatically Black American. And like you said, I'm not saying that everybody is a Black American. I'm just saying we are the same race, and that seems to even some of our people. They're saying, well, we were the ones that carried the badge of Blackness and this and that. And I'm not disagreeing. I'm not arguing with that. I'm not saying that that's not the point. But I'm saying that when these other people came over here that looked like us, they got called Black as well too. So, that's why I say the whole thing about delineation is about trying to, give your own identity because you're getting confused basically with somebody that looks like you. And that's my understanding, that you're trying to say, well, hey, this is me. We may look the same, but we're different. If you don't look the same or whatever, then there's no reason to separate yourself or delineate because, hey, we don't have to delineate from white folks. We don't have to delineate from Asians, so that's just my thing.
I'll take some Tim Sonic.
Go ahead, Pressure.
Hey, skip me real quick,
no. Oh, okay. I saw you had your hand up, but yeah. So that's my thing. I'm not saying that that we're all the Of course, we come from different cultures and backgrounds and everything else. They come from an entire different nation as well too. But that's like to me, like almost saying like a white person from the United States and a white person from France are not the same race. Yeah, they may be ethnically different, culturally different, and everything else, but they're part of the same race. They're both white. It's like saying a Japanese and a Chinese are not the same race. Like, yeah, they are the same race. They have totally different cultures. They can't stand each other. They despise each other. They don't like each other, whatever. But they're the same race. They're Asian. So that's the thing right there. I see Original came up here as well too. So Original, and you're in Georgia, Original. So let me, if you get a chance, let me know how you're feeling about the whole, and it doesn't have to be just about the black thing as well too, but give me your views and your opinion about the diaspora thing, the beefs online. Is it something that's really real? Is it something that's going on offline as well too? You're up in Georgia too, and I know you guys are starting to get a heavier concentration of an immigrant population coming there. A lot of Hispanics more so than anything, but give me your opinion on this space here tonight. What you think about the actual topic as well too. I know you're gonna get it in. Let me real quick before Bash M says race doesn't exist, but ethnicity does. Race was created to enslave Africans. Okay, go ahead, original. You got it. You got it, original.
Yeah, I just want to say, quite a number of these people, they're black when it's convenient. And I give you one perfect example. Remember when that guy Christian Obenselli?
Yeah, I saw you wrong.
Yeah, that guy Christian Obenselli, when he was dating that white OnlyFans prostitute down there in Florida, and she stabbed him to death.
Yep.
His family reached out to black people, to black Americans, because they know that we know how to go out there and get some stuff going. And then someone had conducted research. They said, well, no, this is your family member has been speaking pejoratively about us. They said, we're not coming out to help you. They said, well, yeah, but we're not all like that. And then some people did some further investigation and they found on some of his other family members' social media footprint, and found out that the other family members felt the same way about us. And so that didn't go anywhere. And see, that's the main issue right there. See, they know that they are perceived as being black when they come here. Yeah, they know they black in whatever country they come from. I mean, they look at themselves. I saw a lady's post today on Twitter. She said that she didn't know she was black until she came to Canada. And I'm like, really? I mean, I think it's something with them that they a lot of them feel that they are. I think part of it is quite a number of black people from the so-called diaspora. I think they have a chip on their shoulder when it comes to us, because see, for decades we were seen as, I would say, the premier black people of the world, black Americans. And I think they kind of hated that, even though when Muhammad Ali and other people would go over to these different countries and they'd be welcoming them to, hey brother, when it's something that's going to benefit them, they're black. But if it's not, then they don't want to, claim that blackness. And I don't really see a lot of them here, because basically I just go, to work and back home, and just, kind of, just keep to myself, or what few people I may play tennis with or whatever, So I don't see a lot of them. But sometimes when I do see them, they look at you, they don't see, it's like they look through you, they don't, you know that they're not black American, and they know you're not one of them. And so I just keep it moving. That's why I had to stop getting involved. I mean, like I said before, I came up out of that Pan-African garbage. And I remember there was a time I was working downtown LA at a bank. And this couple, they was from Liberia. And so now they saw me, and they knew that they could, speak to me because of what? My skin color. Okay? And they was trying to get over to the courthouse. And so I stood there with them till the bus came, and I talked to the bus driver, and the bus driver said, oh yeah, man. He said, oh yeah, I'll get him there. And it was a black bus driver. He said, yeah, I'll get him there. But I think what it is that somebody is working these people's mind, and because they are afraid of if too many of us unite and work together, it's over for white folks. And so I let them know because I know I work with this Caribbean guy. He was from, what was it, St. Croix or somewhere. And he tried to have that mindset. He was trying. He was what are called sisters chicken head. I said, hell, you trying to call a black woman a chicken head? Hell, your ass always trying to get up in it. I said, so why you trying to call her that? You know? See, they want to try to say that they are better than we are. I think because for decades, again, we were seen as that premier people, the premier black people of the world. And for some odd reason, I think it's like Khalid Muhammad said, if you want to find the source of your conflict with others, look for the hairy hidden white hand, and you will find the source of your conflict. And so I think a lot of them are being prepped somewhere and being told not to affiliate with them. As I told you before, I have a family member that they worked for from 8 to 10 years. They worked at they are a retired engineer, research and development, and they were the supervisor. But they worked with a Ghanaian, a Nigerian, a Kenyan, a Jamaican, and for whatever reason, these people didn't like them. Didn't want anything to do with them. And but he asked them. He said, so he kept pressuring them. He said, so what did they tell y'all about us? And finally they started talking. They said, well, they told us to stay away from you Negroes. And see, I think a lot of this is that a lot of it has to do with that divide and conquer, and they believe this stuff. They wholeheartedly believe it. And so, but yeah, I mean, just like you got like they think they can say stuff to us and that we are stupid. Remember how Akon was going around talking about black folks? Then he gonna flip and turn around and say, well, yeah, if the African American would come to Africa, black folks not coming over there. No, we already at home. We've been here for hundreds of thousands of years. We've been here, so we're not going over there. Because I was watching something whereby it was some Jamaicans had bought some property in Africa, and they was taking the property from them. And sometimes buying the property, like you gotta go get the chief's fingerprint. I'm like, black folks don't have time for that. Black Americans don't have time for that. But I would just say that these people, they have conflict within themselves. They really do. Because see, for the most part, black Americans, when I was coming up, we all saw everybody just being black. You know, we say, okay, yeah, you black, but now we see we can no longer afford to do that because it hinders our process and it's a negative towards us. Because now they see, I think now they see that we are delineating, and when we get these reparations checks, and now that they see that now they got the dumb Pan Africans that want to promote this flat blackness, which is not going to work because it has to be done by lineage. And so I think that's another barrier that has been shown because see, I've talked to several people and I heard several people say like when COVID hit, it was a good thing for us because we didn't know these people felt this way about us. You know, and people, person after person have said they were listening to these people in that Clubhouse app, and they would hear them speaking so pejoratively about black Americans, and it's like, well, damn, we didn't know y'all felt that way. But see, when black Americans started to clap back on their asses, then all of a sudden they had to find somebody to blame. They all tried to blame Tariq Nasheed. Tariq didn't do this. They did it. Tariq and others responded to their stupidity. Fine, you don't want to see yourself as being black, no problem. When we cut you off for the benefits that we have, don't get upset. You see, and so that's my point. And they always talk about how they have this great culture. Somebody posted a video it was filmed in Nigeria, where even they don't teach. They're not teaching them about slavery. I guess because of their involvement with it. Because if I'm not mistaken, there was something I came across at some point where it stated that there was some African country that had filed for reparations, and they was told that due to their involvement, they did not qualify. You know, so again, that's another hit for them to hate us because them Black Americans, they getting a check and we can't even get anything, and we black. Well, see again, because they don't know how to use their blackness, and so and for whatever reason they keep having this chip. But like I said, I do believe that it's coming from white folk. There was a sister. She's Black American. When they had that first earthquake in Haiti, and she was raising money to go down there to see how she could help the Haitians, and we helped her to raise money. And she said that when she got there, this degenerate white Christian woman started asking her people what was their religious belief, and she said, "Well, I don't have a religion. I'm not into that." So in turn, she started telling the Haitians, "Don't work with her." And so she told the one, I think he was a doctor or some type of medic or something. And she said that she told him, she said, "Look, you all need more than what I can do for you." And she said, "Now I can understand if you don't want to work with me." And he said, "No." He said, "That white bitch, she ain't my that white bitch, she ain't my sister. You're my sister." So some of them understand, and they understand what it means to have a Black united front. But a lot of them a lot of this is based on their religious belief, and they want to be accepted by whatever religion that the hierarchy of the so-called dominant people within that religion. They want to be accepted by them, and so yeah. But he told her, he told her, the Haitian guy said, "You are my sister. She don't mean anything to me, and I will work with you." And they worked together to try to do what they could do to bring relief to the people. But a lot of this, it has to do, because there's this guy, Musafa, I can't think of his name right now, but I did post that before in the chat one time. But there was this guy that he immigrated from Egypt. And when he got here, and he went through the process of becoming a citizen, I mean, you look at him, you can fully see he's a Black man. But they told him he was white. He said, "I'm not white." He said, "I'm Black. I'm trying to be with my Black people over here." And he was a professor, and because he wouldn't identify as being white, he got fired. He got fired. So a lot of this, I think, it comes from what they are told before and after they get here, that they are not Black. You don't want to hang out with the Negroes because the Negroes kick up too much fuss. They get you in trouble. No, we're not going to get you in trouble. We're going to show you how to navigate that terrain. But I don't think now that a lot of that will happen because of the attitudes that they have. But I know I went to a grocery store here, and this guy, he might have been Nigerian, and but he was kind of what he was saying to this brother. I looked at him like, like, who you talking to? He looked at me, and the look I gave him, he kind of walked away, because a lot of them, they're very arrogant. They think they're smarter than we are, the whole 9 yards. But has any one of you seen these? Somebody put some posts on social media where these guys, they are gluing this hair to their head. They got a protractor drawing chalk lines on the forehead, and they are trying to look like us. I mean, it is amazing as to what some of these people would do who they don't want to say that they're Black, but they would go through this arduous process to try to make themselves look like they us. And then, as like people are saying, they want to look like us, or they want to think they can speak on our behalf, and they speaking from where they want to come from an undermining perspective, where they're trying to undermine our efforts. And I think they've gotten more upset because we're not allowing that to happen anymore. But I don't see, like I said, I don't see a lot of them here. And there has been some that I've seen, and they were okay people. But I think most of this has to do with uh, them wanting to appease white people, or where they came from. It is so horrible. The living conditions are so bad that they don't want to do anything that may force them to go back to those living conditions. Because there was a article that came out of Canada, and it said that they interviewed over 90% of the Nigerians that were there, and they said they would never go back to Africa due to the living conditions. And so there are some, so it just, I don't know, I don't know why they have this vitriol for us, but they need to understand that we're not going to accept it. If you want to sit down and have a dialogue with us, we'll do that. We don't have an issue doing that. But if you're coming from an undermining perspective, no, we're not going to do that. That's not going. That is not going to work for us. And so that's why quite a number. But I've met so many people who said they come out of the Pan African movement and that they had the medallions and all this and that and whatever. They said they threw their stuff. They threw their stuff in the trash can. They no longer wanted anything to do with it. And some of them got upset because remember when Smokey Robinson said, he said, "Don't call me an African American. You can call me a Black American." And I understand what he said. He said because to call him an African American would be like giving up uh, the culture and history that we developed here that did not come from Africa. Now, you can say that our initial origin was in Africa. Even they have stated that how many people who came from Africa, but we were already here. We've been here for hundreds of thousands of years. And so I just say, that's an issue. I think the primary culprits is them. It's the issue that they have with us. It's not us for the most part. Some of us do have an attitude towards them. I'll say that, but I think for the most part, it is on them. And I'll land with that.
All right, thank you, original. I know I had Stephanie up here, but she must have dropped down. I wanted to get Stephanie up here. I know she's working as well too, so couldn't quite get her in here this chance. Shout out Miss Lisa. I saw you post something over there on YouTube as well too. So thank you for sharing the link out on multiple platforms. I definitely appreciate that. I sent an invite to speak because I know we got uh Double A up in here. Now I don't want to mispronounce your name, so I just call you Double A. I know you come up in the spaces sometimes, brothers African. So I wanted to get his point of view, his perspective on the actual conversation tonight as well too. If I can get him to come up here and speak. I don't know if you want to speak at this moment right now, but I definitely with you being from the diaspora and being African, brother, I want to go ahead and get your perspective on the conversation, this whole thing about the diaspora beefs and everything online. Do you feel like that's more of an online thing, or do you feel like that's something that's actually happening in the real world as well too?
Well, thank you, man, for giving me the mic. I think it's more. It started off with the how you call it, the online thing, and I think it's currently spilling over. You know what I mean? Because we're human beings, right? And whatever that we project here is probably the same thing we want to do in real life, right? Sometimes you just want to do it for the cloud of it, but sometimes I believe that not everybody want to do the same. Some people just stand on whatever that they say, which is most unfortunate. Like I was listening to original Blood, and I was struggling to really get to the point like what he was really trying to say. Thing is, we are black, right? We are black. We've been black since day one. Before the white man came, we were calling ourselves black in our local languages, right? And that's the reason why when you check all the history concerning Africans, it's always like black, 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 black. All right. I always cite my country, Ghana, for example. We have the black star in the flag, symbolizing us, the people. If you check our national team that was founded somewhere 1903, they're about the Black Stars, the soccer team, the Black Meteors, the Black Silver, the Black Bombers. All our national teams start with black, black, and it's been there for over hundreds of years. Therefore, it is not today that we would want to, remind ourselves of who we are. If you ask anybody here in the United States that, hey, are you black? The number one thing that comes to mind is that you're referencing the black American. The reason being that the black Americans, when it comes to black folks, are the first black peoples here, and therefore automatically you're trying to say that are you referencing,
Oh, hell no.
right? However, if you ask somebody, I don't know if any of y'all has traveled to Africa and has asked somebody, sir, are you black? Well, probably, you need to cross to the other side and ask them, are you black? And probably get a response that you would get from them, so you can make that conclusion, right? So I don't usually put my emphasis on who's black and who's not and all that, because, excuse me, if you learn it, you know so much that you know what is important. On the other side, when you look at it from the angle of what people put on social media, I've seen some irresponsible Africans, putting worse things about Black Americans on the platform. I've seen Black Americans, some irresponsible Black Americans, putting some, negative stuff about Africans on the platform. Somebody like me, I'm way advanced than that. I don't hear it. I don't pay attention to it because I know what is most important to me. There's a bunch of ignorant folks from both sides that want to play, and they play. All right, so I don't use that to make judgment when it comes to black folks. What I know for a fact is that we are all from the same belly, and that's what I know. All right, it is circumstances over the period that has distanced us from each other. Therefore, I don't look down on any black person. I don't feel like I'm better or vice versa. I believe that we have a common enemy. The same thing that goes on the left is happening in Africa. I cannot hear the same things happening to Black Americans, where we always at the bottom. Therefore, what's the fuss about trying to, feel superior for, or trying to feel like you're better than the next man? I don't believe in that. Now, let me clarify this issue about Pan Africans. I think that a lot of folks think that when you talk about Pan Africanism, it means that being an African and supporting, Africa. No, that is a total misconception. Pan-Africanism is about any black person supporting another black person. So if a black person, Black American supporting another black person, that is an African descent individual supporting another African descent individual. That's the principle here. You don't need to cross the line to go and support somebody else over there before you can be regarded as Pan-African, unless you want to delineate and say that you don't have any African ancestry. And when you say you don't have any African ancestry, that means you're not black, right? And if you wanted to think of it, if you think of mine, change the definition of Black American. It's out there for everybody to see. So I don't think that, I believe that there's a beef going on. It is not healthy, but the way the world is going, it's going to get to a point that it is not the third party that will tell all black folks to unite. Circumstances will compel us to know who the true enemy is and the need for us to stick together and fight for the interests of our black folks. And that's how I see it. It's just a matter of time. And I believe that we're getting closer to that moment where, the segregation is getting wider. The world resources is going to, those that are fighting for it from the perspective of their race, their color, their family, whatever, right? And they are leaving others behind. And as it keeps growing and growing, it's going to be at a point where we're like, hey man, listen, at this point, we have no option but to, combine forces and see what we can also get for ourselves collectively. That's how it's going to be. And I yield the mic.
All right. Thank you. I know we have a couple comments on and I appreciate you coming up here. Like I said, I know you're in the minority in the room as well too, and you're giving how you feel about it. You got a couple people on Twitter. Bash him says, tell him to prove themselves. Tell them to prove they call themselves black in Ghana. The black star on the flag stands for African freedom, not black people. I don't know exactly what the flag stands for myself or whatever, but that's what Bash was saying over here on YouTube or whatever. You would know more about it than I do, but like I say, stay around. We'll definitely get back to you as well too. We got a couple hands up, so Definitely let me go ahead and get to and before I get to Love I Am, guys, for those on YouTube, guys, make sure y'all go ahead and share out tonight's broadcast. Share out the broadcast, like it, comment, share, subscribe if you have not. Make sure you visit newstoter.com daily. Follow us on all the social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. Definitely go ahead and follow us on there. For those that can support us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. If you do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron, and the Venmo and PayPal is up in the description on YouTube. Let me go ahead and get to Love I Am. I'm interested to hear what you got to say. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, Newstoter.
Hey, what's up?
I was gonna say that. So number one, Black is not a unifier, and I think that that's the main issue. When you look at the state and condition of the African continent, you can see that Black is not a unifier. And so when we're having people come together under this flat Black identity, it's a faulty foundation that could never sustain itself. And you can even look at Nigeria alone. Nigeria is a colonial constructed country, and it's literally, you have sovereign nations, tribes, however you classify them, that have been brought together under arbitrary means, and Black is not a unifier. With that being said, though, I do want to point out that one of the biggest issues that I have noticed is this African misnomer that has been appended to the melanated humans of the planet. A lot of people don't realize that Africa was not implied to the entirety of the continent until the 17th century. So prior to that, there were many Black groups that existed on that continent. And they primarily identified by bloodline. And so they were already delineated. So the movement that we have going now, which is the delineation movement, is actually right in congruence with that history. It's easier for elite groups to control disenfranchised Black people than it is for them to control groups who have autonomy, sovereignty, and an identity unto themselves that may then decide to unify. They wouldn't be able to do anything with that. Now, the issue I see, though, is that here in America, you have groups who, number one, they come here, they take an oath of naturalization, which the oath actually explicitly requires them to renounce their known country of origin. So that is an express willingness to capitulate into a system of white supremacy. Well, it just so happens that in America, that system has been honed in on the economic disenfranchisement and economic deprivation of the American Negro people. Now, with that being said, when these people come here, they agree to that. And so there really is no incentive for them to side with us. And then on top of that, the elite groups that run this country, they are experts in triangulation tactics, which is when a manipulator wants to manipulate two parties. And so they feed lies to a group in order to get them to have minimal to no communication. I do believe that these people were actually brought in because they were concerned with where the American Negro consciousness would go. And we know that by our history of the COINTELPRO operation and how much money and energy was expended to gauge the consciousness of the Negro mind. So if they could look at Africa and see that Black is simply not a unifier, you have nations that are governed by Black people who are willing to operate on behest of white supremacy to oppress their own people. Well, if you can bring them over here, have them to take an oath of allegiance, then it's going to be discord amongst the American Negro people whose consciousness has always been a threat to the white supremacist infrastructure here. And so you have people who are doing 3 behaviors that I do view as particularly harmful. I'm almost done. One of them is interfering with our negotiations as a group, with our government, and then even amongst ourselves. Many of them rationalize the harms of our oppression by believing the triangulation lies of the Black people are lazy, they don't want to work, they're criminals, blah, blah, blah. We have people doing that, and then we have people who will propose solutions for our group as a non-member of our group. So I see those behaviors. Those behaviors are offensive. Black Americans, we have already been through this narcissistic abuse with white people, and we are vehemently in opposition to any other groups coming here trying to do that to us. And so where we have been indoctrinated into Pan-Africanism, and that was supposed to override any organic thought process that we would have towards the African continent, we are waking up. The veil is being lifted. We have an astute understanding of our history here in America. We have an astute understanding of our history that predates colonization. We know that our ancestors were not just captured; they were sold into captivity. There's a lot of nuance to it. So, with all of these facts being uncovered, there you can't at this point try to tell us how we should think and view things, and you definitely should not have some overt negative opinion of our group when we understand that it was our history that got you here, and you benefited inadvertently from everything that we have done here, and the relationship has actually been non-reciprocal. So now that those things are being exposed, I can see that we're making people uncomfortable. It's almost like in real life, if you decide to do some introspective work and level up, how the people who you used to be friends with, they get mad at you and they're uncomfortable by your come up. It's that same type of thing here, I personally feel. So yeah, said a lot. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. I think that Black Americans are literally just tired of bullshit from other groups, and they're not discounting the bullshit.
Try not to curse, sweetie.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Of the other groups, whether they are Black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter at this point. We're seeing the behaviors coming from all the groups, and we're just tired of it.
All right. Thank you, Love I Am. Love I Am. Are you following Newstoter on YouTube? If not,
Yes, I am.
okay.
But not under this name.
No, okay. Well, it don't matter. As long as you following, sweetie. Thank you. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to I said we got Art up in here, and we got Divine Black Pressure as well too. And guys, I know everybody, what and I'm gonna just call him Double A because I don't want to mispronounce his name. He is the only person from the diaspora to speak up tonight as well too. So I'm glad that he came up here to give his point of view, guys. So we'll try to see once everybody gets through speaking if he wants to come back up here and speak as well too. I know you guys somebody left a couple comments. I know I think Carlos wanted to know what does he say about how Africans treat how Africans, what does he say when Africans disrespect Black Americans basically as well too, guys. So we'll get a chance to get him back up here. I want to go ahead and get to some of the other speakers as well too, but like I say, he's the only one from the diaspora that's actually in the space that's actually speaking as well too. So we want to go ahead and I know we're gonna have some disagreements on everything as well too, but we're definitely going to try to keep the conversation rolling around so we can get him involved in here as well too if he wants to speak again as well. So let me go ahead and get to Art. Make sure, guys, that you don't have any earbuds in, you don't have anything in, so we can hear you nice and loud and clear, just like Love I Am was. We want to hear you loud and clear so our people on YouTube can hear you. So if you have on a headset or anything, take it off and turn your phone volume up so we can hear you loud and clear. Art, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I don't see I don't see the diaspora war as a real thing because you'd have to be united as a diaspora to have said war. We were never united. I think that's one of the things that nobody really addresses. Pan-Africanism really roots from all the pans, which the first of its kind was Pan-Slavism. I implore people to really research Pan-Slavism, and
you'll find out everything that's wrong with pretty much all the Pans, but particularly Pan-Africanism. In 1900s, Pan-Africanism popped up on the scene. 1901, Pan-Europeanism. A year later, 1921, Black Wall Street got bombed. 1922, Walter Plecker was a white supremacist, met with Marcus Garvey, who would be considered a black supremacist. And by 1923, you had the Euro-African movement. 2 years after Black Wall Street, Red Summer. So while we were getting bombed, where was the diaspora? They were teaming up with the Europeans, which is kind of a trend if you think about it, because who's the buyers and sellers of our ancestors, right? And what I notice is when you have conversations with Afrocentrists, it's very similar to Eurocentrism. I also implore you to go into an Afrocentric room and then go into a Eurocentric room to see what I'm talking about. You can literally use the same talking points because they both believe in the German ideology of race. Yes, that is a German ideology. I personally do not accept the German ideology of race, because who wins in that world? Does race benefit Black Americans? No, because we get ethnicided. Because, if you're one of the 3,000 tribes in Africa and you come over here and they're like, oh, well, race is gone. Well, they're still going to be whatever their 3,000 tribes are. And we're going to be what? Still Black, right? So why would my main concern about teaming up with anybody that has that kind of mentality, particularly on the Afrocentric perspective, is why are you claiming to be something based on a German ideology and not what you are by ethnic group, by language, by culture? We were forced to lose these things. They come over here and willingly choose to be something we had to be forced to be. And so, can you really take that person serious, especially with the history of how Africans tend to work with Europeans? I'll remind everybody, North Africans are still African, but yet they come over here and they're white. So it's not Muhammad Ali. They were trying to I'll post it in the comments. I'm pretty sure I did post it in the comments, but I'll post it at the double check. But Muhammad Ali, he was supposed to go into a restaurant. They let Africans who were darker than him. Now, this man just won. He's like a world champion. And they wouldn't let him in, but they let some no-name Africans in. This is part of our history. And so when you're talking to people and they have no empathy for your history, your culture, your ethnic group, and they just willing to be whatever it takes to better them, then you have to be concerned. And then you're like, all right, well, you have immigration used to be women and children. You have able-bodied men coming here. And it's not just, I'm not going to just point at Africa there, because there's able-bodied men coming from all over the place. But Africa is one of those places. And it's like, you have able-bodied men coming here complaining about the white man when you just left a majority melanated continent to come to the white man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a hypocrisy. And it's a similar hypocrisy as white people with the whole Israel thing. Here we are funding Israel in similar fashion, and they won't give the Indians their land back. So you can give people their land back from 1,000 years ago that are Germanic in nature. I want to point that out. Those people are not the normal people that was there. They're Germanic. You can look up ethnogenesis of Ashkenazi. You'll get tons of reports that come back and say they're European. Their Yiddish is a Germanic language. So those are Germans over there, stealing Arab land, which honestly, the Arabs were the previous colonizers, so it's not even really their land, but for the sake of argument, we'll just say it's their land. So you have Germans trying to steal Arab land, basically. And we're supposed to think that, in a way, and this is who the Pan-Africans have no problem teaming up with. I have a whole thread. They get money from the Ford Foundation. They get money from George Soros. They get money from Rockefeller. Like, I show you a paper trail. they have no problem getting money from these groups. You think you're going to get money as a black ethnically? You think you're going to get that money? How do you? It's like the same thing with the Muhammad Ali. They'll give them money. They'll let them in the restaurant, but no, they won't let you in. You're a Negro. You. If we don't care if you're a world champion like Muhammad Ali, we're not letting you in, but we'll let these no name Africans in. It's the same thing all over again. George Soros will give Africans money, they ain't gonna give you money. So, I mean, and I've had conversations with many Africans. As a matter of fact, it was an African that pointed me to an African scholar from Zimbabwe and showed me the dissertation that's titled Invention of Blackness Worldwide. It was an African that told me that. So there are some good Africans that are in the diaspora that know the truth, stand on the truth with you, and will even help you find information with African scholars. So I don't want to say it's all, the diaspora, but there are those people who have no respect for our ethnic group in African culture and in Central America, to be honest. South American, not so much. They're kind of like, they're not here or there really. I don't even think they're in our politics like that. But Central Americans and Africans, for some reason, particular groups within those groups, it's just like they want to force the European ideology of race on you, even if it's going to ethnicize us as a culture. We literally have to capital our ethnic group just to distinguish from other people. That no other group has to do that. And it's just like, if these people gave two shits about us, they would be like, nah, I wouldn't even call myself black because I don't want to take from your ethnic group. No way, no different than I wouldn't go over there and tell people I'm an Akin or a Yoruba or a Zulu. I wouldn't do that. I'm not that. I wouldn't do that to them. Nor would I put them in a position where I don't care if white people did call us all Zulu. I'd be like, those are South Africans. You're not going to call me that. I'm not going to steal those people's ethnic group. You know what I mean? I don't know what kind of person doesn't care for more than one way, right? Like, not only do they not care about us, like even if I think, okay, well, maybe they shouldn't have to worry about that, but why would you ethnicize yourself and not be proud of your own heritage? That's deeply concerning in itself. You know what I mean? Like, to adopt a German ideology. Like, you see how those Germanic Jews over in Israel act, right? These people are adopting those type of people's ideology, or Nazis. They're from Germany too. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, if that's who they're hanging out with? Look at Marcus Garvey. He's hanging out with Walter Plecker. Do you really want to hang out with people who are more than willing to hang out with that mindset? Who's willing to sell out even their own people to come to a majority white, if you want to go by race? You know what I mean? Society, like, I don't know. It's just hard to take people serious. There's a lot of disingenuousness in their conversations. I would even say there's a slight amount of entitlement because it's like they feel like that they are superior to us, but it doesn't shock me because some of these people's ancestors sold our ancestors, and they kind of have that same mentality. I mean, so with that, I'll end it.
All right. Thank you, Art. I appreciate you coming up in here, guys. Definitely make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel that's up in the Jumbotron as well, too. We got the funded social media site up in there that Black Majority State owns. That's on the far left-hand side. If you have not already created an account over there, profile, definitely go ahead and do that. Support Black-owned business. Make sure you visit Newstoter.com daily to stay up to date on breaking Black news. Visit Newstoter.com daily because we can't tweet out all the information on the Twitter. So definitely go to the website and check out the content. A bunch of content on there today. Did tweet out about 30 posts a day. So guys, definitely go ahead and check out the profile page and go to Newstoter.com daily. Newstoter.com daily to stay up to date. Let me go ahead and get to Divine. Divine, go ahead and unmute your mic. How you doing?
What's good, family? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Shout out to the host. Shout out to the co-host. I just want to, just give love to what Art and Love I Am said. Like, they really, as I'm sitting on mute, I'm like, oh, shit, damn, I was going to say that. Damn, I was going to say that, too. But so, I'm glad that we are all one accord. It's a beautiful thing. And so to what Love I Am said, and I think this is, for me, was just eye opener. We understand that black is not a unifying force, right? And I think she even made the distinction: black is not a unifying force on the continent, right? But here in this country, just like I said, me listening, staying on mute, and hearing what they're saying, what happens is black is the one of the biggest unifiers here in America, and that's our history where we took black, something that was forced on us in a lot of ways, and we created an identity, we created a culture that unified us across whatever our individual genealogies and lineages were. But at the same time as well, it unified us across regional lines, right? Because, we have family in the South, family in the North, and we'll have, conversations mostly, in love or in jest, we say, oh, we're better than you, or we're better up here or down there. But the bottom line is, when it comes down to being against the enemy, we know who that is. Unfortunately, Apaya was saying that I think it's coming to that point where we'll see who the real enemy is, and it'll force, quote unquote, black people to unite. Unfortunately, the history says otherwise. Because before, during, and after colonization, none of that shared history was enough for those tribes of Africa to unite and put down tribalism, put down all those family and nation beefs that they had, and to unite against the colonizer and the oppressor. Like, that has never happened, right? They will tell you today how distinct and how separating those, the Yoruba and the Igbo are, and the Shanti and the Fulani, like, those things exist. We know those people are separate people because they come in and let us know that they are separate. And so, to the title of the diaspora beef seems to be heating up once again. It's not even, at this point, I don't even think it's a beef. Like Art said, it's just a part of their culture. It's a part of their ideology. It's a part of their identity to view other groups of black people that are not their tribe, quote unquote, black people that are not their tribe, that are not their ethnic group, and look at them as other. Like, it's just a part of who they are. And so when they come here, we're just a separate group of people. And we have seen that, like Art brought up the history of Pan-Africanism, and that's really one of the things that has kind of muddied the waters, if you really think about it. Because when Garvey comes over here, he's preaching unity. He's talking about the UNIA, but we have seen now in hindsight, being 2020, we see the letters that he was sending to his white supremacist friends, the Coxes and the Pleckers, where he was denigrating black Americans, calling us lazy, saying we had no right to the railroads because we didn't build them. And so what happened was he came in with a Jamaican interpretation of what being black in America was. And that's the best he could ever do. And unfortunately, that's the best that anybody else from outside of this country can do. They can come in and give their Nigerian interpretation of what being black American means. But because of their culture, because of their identity, because of their ideologies, they come in and feel like they have a say-so, or they know better than those of us that are living and have lived it all of our lives. And so when you have a people that come in that way, given the history that we now know that most of our forefathers didn't know about how much of our ancestors were sold here, not stolen in the heat of the night, not white folks sneaking up on boats and running into the inner workings of the continent and stealing us from friends and family members. But now we know there was a system, there was a transatlantic slave trade where these same individuals, facing down colonization, facing down white supremacists, facing down foreign invaders, some of these tribes worked with those invaders and sold other people that looked like them, and that looking like them was never enough. And like Art said, you have the story of Muhammad Ali, but we also have the great Malcolm X having that debate on television. I can't remember who the gentleman is, but I believe he's a Afro-Latino, Puerto Rican, and he's telling him, hey, white supremacy does not look at us as equals. What the so-called, and this is his term, the so-called Negro goes through, if you have somebody, if they can prove, essentially, if they can speak Spanish, the white supremacists won't treat them the same. If they can tie their head up with a turban, they will be treated differently. There's documented proof of black Americans donning turbans so they can get on the railroads and getting preferential treatment because they were looked at as a other. There's also another book called Mau Mau in Harlem, where that foreign delegation was actively advocating and asking the Kennedy administration to give them buttons. So when they come to America, the white supremacists would know that they're not the descendants of those ancestors that survived slavery in America. And so there has never been a time in the history of this world where there was a universal African identity that all of the continents subscribe to and adhere to, and there was a universal culture built underneath that. That has never existed. And so what happens is too many of the diaspora come here pretending that that is the history and then trying to force that ideology on us. And unfortunately, there is a number of us that are Black American that have absorbed and have been fully indoctrinated with that ideology, and they will join in with them to try to convince us that there's power in an identity that has never existed, that has never fought white supremacy in the ways that we have, and have never united across tribal, ethnic, and regional differences to fight a singular and common enemy. That has never happened. So it's not a beef that's heating up. It is a part of their culture, who they are as a people. Because when you go back to the 1920s, when Garvey first gets over here, he is denigrating Black Americans while also elevating and admiring the plight of the Irish people in Ireland, because he has Irish ties and connections to the island of Jamaica. But no Black American would sit there and uplift Ireland or the Irish, especially no Black Americans from New York, after the riots and all that we were put through. But Garvey, being a Jamaican, interpreting and kind of translating what it means to be Black American, would, because whether we like it or not, and I'll bring my iron horse to the station on this, each and every different and distinct ethnicity under what we call Blackness, or what an African is trying to form into this Blackness, have a different culture and a different lived experience, and especially like we've seen in America, they have different political priorities and needs. And I'll land there.
All right. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get the Black Pressure, double A. I'm gonna get to you after I get the Black Pressure. Definitely, guys, for those that can support on Cash App, $, Newstoter, $Newstoter. If you got just $1 that you can donate to the platform, it is greatly appreciated. $Newstoter, Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, $Newstoter, Newstoter. If you do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. Same with everybody on YouTube. We have those up in the description. Go ahead, Black Pressure.
Hey, I just want to say real quick, Devon, you're sharpening your sword day by day, my boy. Go ahead.
All right, news on Pat. So it's a few things I have to say. So everybody brought up good points, definitely points that I subscribe to also. And they do art. I like to do art. I like a solid cat. I like him. Man, he probably doesn't remember me, but him and I had we going back and forth back in the day on just certain things we didn't agree with. But let me start off like this. There's an issue with art and others that think like him when you come to the when you come to the debate about race is some kind of neo-Germanic construct. That is totally untrue. Race is an absolute. Now, the word race, English, yes, that's newer. Like, now, you can go back to the 15 and 1600s where the word race was used to try to describe a certain biology and science. That's true. But the concept of race is as old as human beings themselves. You could go back to the ancients. You could go back to like Herodotus and Socrates and Plato. All these people questioned race. Some of the most, like Herodotus' most famous writings is, hey, where did these northern Black people come from? We would call them Egyptians and Nubians and the Ma Confederation. This is always, where did these 6'8", sleek built, long-headed black people come from? And you even going further than that. Yes, like you said, the word race, that's new, but like the ancients, they use bloodline and house and descendant. Even you could go back as far as ancient Africans, they use the Negroes, burnt face, the land of the black. All those things were used to describe black people, and there was a question. They asked, like I said, where did these black people come from? Because they knew we were not the same people. One of the dangers is when you listen to like this new age information, you hear black people say, "Oh, race is a social construct." But you know what's funny? If you talk to Eastern Europeans, they denote back to their ancient forerunners. They'll claim Norse and Norse and Viking ancestry. You go back, you talk to Hawaiians, they're Polynesian forerunners, the red Native American, they're Northern Asian forerunners. But when it comes to black people, oh, we're all human. That's dangerous because everybody else can denote to their bloodline, their history, the major players that their bloodline produced. But like I said, everybody else, when it comes to black people, we're all human. But newsflash, there is no homogeneous gene that controls black people. Every black person that passes from their mother's womb, they don't look the same. They're not going to have the same characteristics. They're not going to think the same. They're not going to be the same height. They're not going to have the same intelligence. It's that new age information going around that if you don't look like a black American, you're somehow a different race of people. Excuse me. So I say this too. It's been brought up a few times that black people have been in the Western Hemisphere way before the transatlantic slave trade. That is an absolute fact. Absolutely true. Now, News, I've posed this question before, and you'll never get an answer from black people. There is no race of people that fell out of a tree. There's no people group today living that didn't descend from a people group. So I pose this question, and you'll never get an answer. The black people that were here before the transatlantic slave trade, and there were many that actually built empires in like the eastern and the Midwestern United States. What race of people did they descend from? If you can't answer, you have to say they fell out of a tree. You literally have to say, oh, we don't have a race. We fell out the sky and landed on the ground. And I'll mute up and listen.
All right. Thank you, Black Pressure. Let me go ahead and get the UAA. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right, thank you. I believe that, listen, first of all, right, this type of, back and forth, my position is I think that we just need to learn from each other, right, so we can understand where each other is coming from. Comments coming up suggesting, like, we come here and we get indoctrinated into something else, or the white folks tell us to act in a certain way. I mean, I feel that it's a bit disrespectful, trying to insult the intelligence of, people that have decided to leave their home, to come to another man's land and, make something for themselves, right? That's quite disrespectful. So let's tone down when we're making this generalization. And also, let's acknowledge this. Slavery caused a lot of harm to Black Americans. Caused a lot of harm. Colonization caused a lot of harm to Africans as well. Okay? Can you imagine the environment where they forced a religion on you to a point where you felt like your traditional religion was inferior? Can you imagine what they forced to let it look like your color is inferior to their color? That every time you think of religion, think of a color, the savior looks like them. Therefore, anything that looks like them is the way to success and salvation. And anything that looks like you is the way to the devil, black, dark, evil, da. This is how terrible it's been for a very long time. Can you imagine to a point where in Africa today you have folks that they are Catholics, right? Oh, who are you? I'm, in terms of religion, I'm Roman. How can a black guy be a Roman? When you've not even had a passport, more or less, to travel to Rome. But it is because of colonization. You hear a lot of Africans, a lot of them having foreign names like Moses, John, Peter, whatever. Right? When naturally those names are not true names. They know how they named it. They say you need to have a Christian name. You need to have a Christian name. Therefore, because they want to be able to mention your name, because they can't mention your name like Chumukutaya.
Hey, can we get you a little bit louder, if possible?
Can you hear me now?
About the same. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
You don't have a headset on, do you?
I do. Let me take it off.
Yeah, take it off.
I'm sorry. Is it better?
Yeah, that's much better.
I'm sorry. We we have terrible AirPods. So what I'm saying is, if you have a situation where if your names have to be changed, right, just because they can't mention the name like Chukutaya and the rest of them, so they call you Moses and Peter, blah blah blah, right? You have to understand that they did a lot of harm to your psyche, your mentality, where you always need to look down on yourself and always look up to them if you want to be quote unquote successful, right? And this has been a problem for years, decades, and they never left. They still, drumming that and, taking that pressure every now and then. Therefore, when you see Africans, some of them acting in a certain way, I'm not holding grief for some of them, they're just stupid. However, also stems along with colonization. Ain't the same breath. When people begin to question why Black Americans are not that successful as compared to white folks, blah, 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 it also stems from the fact that they were enslaved, and therefore they have never been given the same opportunity that others had. So we cannot just be pontificating hands and just thinking that somebody is better than the next person when we know that the same harm that was done to you was done to me. I don't want to bore you with a lot of history with slavery. Some call it slave trade. I don't consider it a slave trade because I know more, I've read more, and I know what it is. How conniving they were, how they instigated one tribe against the other, and they benefited from it, and they tagged it as slave trade. That's cool. That's one of the subject. But guess what, Art? We take pride in the various tribes that we have. Indeed, it's one of the things that has held us together to date. All right, 3,000 tribes. I wish we had more. I wish we had more because it's giving us variety in terms of who you want to be with, who you want to hang with, who you want to learn from, and how others do things. Take a country like Ghana, for example. We have like 16 different languages. Have we ever had a civil war? Have we had a class for Fantis alone, Ashantis alone? Never have we had that. Matter of fact, none of my family even married from the same tribe. Now, and 80% of Ghanaians don't marry from the same tribe. So how do you bastardize something that we adore and we cherish that most? So you need to understand the history before you draw a conclusion. Okay? Back to today. I'm going to make a reference to you, and I want to give you things that you can cross-check. In the 60s, the finance minister of Ghana came to the United States. Based on his color, he was denied entry to a restaurant. He had to make noise for the then president to invite him to the White House and, somehow apologize to him. Over the period, we've heard history from our older folks that have been here about the fact that they've been maltreated, they've gone through racism, blah, 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 just because of their color. They have never been spared. They have never been spared. Nobody has been spared. Matter of fact, have I gone through racism? Yes, I have. So what is it that you want to think that they're trying to make it look like, oh, when you're from Africa, they give you professional treatment? Indeed, what I know for a fact is great because as a consultant, I've worked in corporate bodies for a minute. When it comes to certain type of jobs, they look for loyalty. Those who stay that long in business and those who will not. Most of the time, they prefer the Spanish folks because they believe that the Spanish folks stay there forever, do blah, 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 as compared to Black folks. That is people's, research and their perception, whether it is true or not. That's how they feel, that's how they think, right? But in the long run, all this back and forth, like I keep saying, it does no good for nobody. You want to delineate. The system already delineated. If I put my credentials, if I get a case right now, and they put my credentials in, man, everything about me, my mom, my dad, everything will come out. to show who I am, what my background is, where I'm from. When I was born, the hospital I was born in Ghana. The system is already structured. All right, but hey, if you feel that attaching yourself with Africans, right, takes something away from you, hey, shout out to you. Go ahead and delineate. Maybe it's going to be better for Black Americans. And if that is what's going to liberate Black Americans, hell yeah. Some of us we always support. Go ahead and delineate. All right, just don't bastardize, don't insult people. Just go and get what's best for you, and just leave Africans alone. That works. I yield the mic.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we got Black Majority State coming up here to speak to as well, guys. We got almost 75 people up in here, and we still have not got one person to donate to the actual platform. Like I said, $1. We're not asking for much, but we do need just a minimum to go ahead and keep production rolling and stuff. So if you guys have $1 to donate to the actual platform, the largest Black-owned Black American news media curation platform, $1 would definitely be worthwhile, guys. If you have the dollar to spare, definitely go ahead and send it to Newstoter, $Newstoter, Newstoter. Not asking for much, not asking for a lot, but if you do have $1 that you can spare to the platform, not to the Twitter space, not to the YouTube channel, but to the actual platform, which is the largest Black-owned Black American platform in terms of curation in media today in Black America, $Newstoter, Newstoter. If you do not have a Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. Same with our people on YouTube as well. That's up in the description. So once again, $Newstoter, Newstoter. I know we can at least get one person to donate, be generous enough to donate $1 to the actual platform. I know we can at least get one person to donate at least $1 to the platform tonight, guys. So we'll definitely keeping our fingers crossed that our people will definitely go ahead and support us. Black-owned, support Black-owned business. Let me give a shout out to DJ real quick. DJ, thanks for your contribution. Let me go ahead and get to who had the hand up? Let me get to Black Majority State because he hasn't had a chance to speak yet. So let's get a new speaker up here. Black, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hello, Newstoter, everybody in space.
What's up?
Yeah, so I put down in your chat about this initiative, which is the White House's initiative in conjunction with the African diaspora. It's called the President's Advisory Council on African Diaspora Engagement. They said they've already invested $385 million. They plan to double that to $690 million over the next 2 years for a total of $1.1 billion. And I kind of want to go over the list a little bit so you can understand what's actually happening with this administration. And from what I understand, when I looked into this has been going on, probably goes back to the Obama administration because he's the one kind of opened up some of this trade with these sub-Saharan African countries. And I think
Actually, Jimmy Carter, brother, but go ahead.
Oh, God. Okay. I think it's important to say sub-Saharan Africa because everything north of the Saharan is Arab, and that is like almost 50% of the landmass in the continent itself. So it gives a clearer picture of what we're dealing with. But basically, here are some of the things they got going on. Young African Leaders Initiative. Vice President announced plans with Congress to provide over $100 million toward this initiative, which is Young African Leaders Exchange. The Export-Import Bank of the United States says the EXIM is signing a $500 million memorandum of understanding. The Vice President announced the EXIM will sign over $1 billion of, they're calling these memorandums of understandings during the U.S. African Leaders Summit. And this, I think most of this, what I'm reading from, was from December of last year, and then just recently, which I also put in your chat, they created this council. And so the council is a mixture of some Black Americans, and I guess we would have to really figure out if they are wholly Black American or not, and then a bunch of actual Africans who also are a part of it.
Actually, Harry Truman, brother, but go ahead.
there's a black African, his Ham Surgeon Jogi of California. He's a very interesting person. He's from Uganda, I believe. Originally came over here, went through the educational system, built up this $2 billion corporation, and has direct contact with multiple U.S. presidents. And so the fact that he's on the board, the fact that he has this direct contact with the most powerful people in the country, the fact that he was able to come over here and build this insanely successful business, to me is signs that in terms of the beef or the war, whatever the case may be, that the Democrat Party is choosing a side in whatever this is, and it's not to benefit Black America. Quite clearly, is to benefit the African diaspora because they want access to those markets. One of the most startling things from one of the things that I read was that by 2050, 60% of the continent of Africa, and I'm assuming they're talking about sub-Saharan Africa, will be under 25 years of age. So 25 and under, 60% of the population, which to me says they're really trying to set themselves up for exploitation over this very young future population. So I'll end with that.
All right. Thank you, Black Majority State. Let me go ahead and let me real quick give a shout out to Black Pressure, TTW, Darhouse in Brooklyn. Thank you guys all for your donations on the Cash App. Let me go ahead and get to go ahead, Art.
Hey, I'll yield to the next hand.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Let me go ahead and get to Divine. Divine, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to just say some things directly to what API Empire came back and rebutted. So firstly, no one's saying that the diaspora doesn't come to America and be negatively affected by catching strays from what the country does to us. We're saying that once the distinctions are known, in most cases, most measurables, that it's not the same. Not that it's zero, that it's not the same. And when you also talk about hiring, you talked about what companies want loyalty. That might be true, but there was a study done about hiring practices. I know it was highlighted in an article in the New York Times. It was saying when being black is not enough, I think was the headline. It talks about the preference that white business owners and white employers have for the diaspora for various reasons. And one of the most highlighted was, for lack of a better term, preferring how docile they were. And so this idea that it's about loyalty alone, that's just not totally accurate. There's a level of understanding the difference between the ethnicities and how there's certain racial treatment that the diaspora will actually condone, actually be okay with. But more importantly, there is a difference in mindset because of there's a group here that knows that the country owes us something, and there's another group that comes that is grateful for being here. So that's going to paint your interactions and how you talk and interact with the power structure here. And so that is one of the biggest reasons why there are different outcomes, especially when we're talking about employment and things of that nature. And one of the other things that he said that I wanted to make sure I addressed was he talked about the harms done due to slavery and due to colonization, and all those things that he mentioned are true. So I'm not here to distinguish or to discount that. But here's what I will say, and I think this is something that consistently and constantly gets glossed over. You cannot blame the ideology and the attitude of those that come from the continent of Africa towards those of us here in America on colonization. Totally, I'll say that. It is not based on colonization because you have to acknowledge the fact that long before white people touched down on the continent, those same separate nations, tribes, and ethnic groups that Apaya said he wished there were more of, they were already warring, raping, pillaging, enslaving, and genociding one another before white folks ever touched down. And so if that is how you guys have always viewed each other, and colonization was not enough of a kick in the behind, respecting the platform, not to curse, to unite you guys across those tribal and ethnic and nation lines, then nothing's going to be big enough or bad enough to unite you guys across those ethnic, tribal, and nation lines. And we see that play out here in America. And lastly, is when you talked about the delineation and just the way in which it's framed. Talking about, well, if you guys don't want to be connected to Africans, we have never been connected to Africans. That connection to Africans wasn't enough for other Africans to not sell our ancestors over here. So there's never been this deep connection that was anything of substance based on being, quote unquote, from the continent of Africa or African. And so it's not about us being separate from Africans because we're already separate from Africans. And you know who lets us know we're separate from Africans? Other Africans. When they come here and let us know that they're not black. They're not Black American. They're Nigerian. They are Ghanaian. They are Kenyan. And then they break it down to the next level. I am Yoruba. I am Ashanti. I am Igbo. So it's just the disingenuousness of it all to pretend that what we're doing is because we don't want to be connected to Africans, and also this concept that the country already knows. No, this country doesn't already know, because all of us, whether we are Black American, whether we are from the continent, whether we are from the Caribbean, and whether we from the Latin, South American countries, the definition of African American in this country is anyone having origins in any of the Black racial groups of Africa. So politically and legislatively, we are not delineated. And that's what we're talking about. Socially, everybody knows who we are. Everybody knows who each other are outside of the Pan-Africans. But legislatively, we're all the same. And so legislatively, if we are to get what we are owed, if we are to get the direct resources and policies and reparations that we need, deserve, and that is owed, the delineation has to happen for that to happen on the political and legislative side. It's not about social, because socially, you guys already set up your own ethnic enclaves that are separate and apart from us. That already happens. So I don't want it to be framed as, we just don't want to be around them. You guys are already not around us. As soon as you guys got your numbers up, you guys built economic and social residential enclaves that we are largely locked out of, and I know that for sure firsthand because I live in New York, where there are entire communities and neighborhoods split up based on ethnicity. And then even like I said, when it's a Caribbean area, even in that area, it's separate based on where the Haitians and the Guyanese, the Jamaicans live and hang out. Like, it's all separated by ethnicity. So it is not something that we're creating. It's not something that we're doing to be disrespectful or hateful. And again, I want to just make sure I land with this. The quote-unquote B is not anything that we have ever made up on our own. All our greats fought for us to get them here because we believed that we were getting reinforcements against white supremacy. They came here already with their preconceived ideas of who we were, but more importantly, especially from the continent, they already knew that our families were those that they sold away. And so there is a level of shame internally that they don't want to come to grips with. And so it comes out in passive aggressive and entitlements. Because if not, you have to acknowledge that the people that you sold away, that you threw away, came here, fought, and became some of, if not the greatest, melanated people this world has ever known. and that's just something that they got to sit with and stew with, and it's not pretty, and it comes out every once in a while, especially when we start talking about empowerment. And I'll land here because I got to say this thing, because if you look at the history of the reparations and our empowerment movements, when you go back to the days of Callie House in the late 1890s, after they hit her with mail fraud, what happens? We see the Pan-Africans coming with Marcus Garvey. They then hit him with the same type of charges. But then we get the civil rights movement of the 1960s. We get some headway. We start getting some policies that we thought were specifically for us, but did improve our lives. And what happens in the 1980s? The Republicans hit us with the mass immigration of Black immigrants that come into the country after 1965, and more so than not in the 1980s and the early 2000s. And now we have this movement in the present day where we are delineating and fighting for our rights and what we deserve and what we're owed. And then we're getting opposition from those same individuals that pop up again from the diaspora that come in and say what we don't deserve or what we should get and who we really are and things of that nature. So it is a pattern that we're starting to see, that more of us are like, you know what, F it, we are going to just ride for us and everybody else is going to have to hold their own. And we can assist you if we can, but no longer are we going to do the work for you while being disrespectful.
Okay, thank you. Divine, I'm going to drop you down for us. I'm going to drop original because we got a new speaker trying to come up here. So let me go ahead and get some new speakers up here as well too. So
no doubt.
Give me 1 second.
Hey, I was going to say, Black majority don't mind being cold, so you could reserve that spot and bring someone back up.
Okay, well, we can do that too. We probably ain't gonna keep it going too much long, but let me go ahead. I want to get a couple of new speakers that's up here. Big Smoke, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hello, good evening, guys. The diaspora beef, that's happening here on the online sphere of like the black space. I wouldn't say it's heating up, but I was hoping, since like most of us, I've been hearing this diaspora beef, from another side of the black sphere of social media, like YouTube. Like when I first heard of this beef, like it was on Facebook, I hear, Africans and black people both going back and forth, saying you people are this, you people are that, yada, 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 I was hoping, is there any conflict or resolution, is there anything, that Africans and black people, they both have like a common ground on the social media space? Like, is there anything that, we can both say, hey, we got, some people here that's talking a lot of shit, like towards Black Americans and.
Hey, everybody, let's watch the language. Go ahead.
Oh, my fault. We have some black folks here, that's, how can I say it? They're being mean, basically, towards Black Americans, and, most of us Africans, we should learn how to call out, this type of behavior. Like, if you got, this guy saying that Black Americans are this, there, and that, we should definitely take action of calling that out, because I do see this online though. I seen this Nigerian dude, he was talking a lot of smack towards Black Americans, and I caught it, and I basically just called him out on it. So that's one thing, how we can try to resolve this entire conflict of this diaspora beef online. because this has been going on for like a year. So, you know, it's going on for like two years now. So we just need like to, you know, figure this out. Like how can we make things neutral? And I'll land my plan on that.
All right. Thank you,
We
Big.
make things neutral by the Africans acknowledging that the Black Americans need protected status first and foremost. Everything else is secondary. The check is secondary.
Okay, who's that talking real quick? Whoever's talking, guys, raise your hand. Raise your hand, because I didn't know who that was talking, but whoever's talking, go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll get to you. So definitely, nobody go talking without raising your hand, and we will definitely get you, because I do want to get to some of the new speakers that's up here as well. Let me give a shout out to Nana Means King as well too. Label, was that you talking?
Yeah, that was me, brother. But I just, you know what I mean. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just heard somebody talking, so I didn't know who it was. So I'll get to you next, Label. Miss Lisa, go ahead and unmute your mic.
How you doing? It's been a while. It's been a long time, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I saw the comment you left, which I thought was a little odd, but go ahead and speak.
I'm asking the questions. I've been gone for a minute.
Oh.
I'm gonna make this short and sweet. I came in this room, and you know what I heard and I felt? The condescending attitude towards our beliefs and what we're fighting for. Bro is like, yeah, they don't want to hire us because we're not loyal. They'd rather hire Hispanics. He needs to understand, if it wasn't for Black Americans fighting in this country for South Africa would not be apartheid free. Every time y'all had a problem, we raised hell in the USA. What the hell have y'all ever done for us? And then to sit here, and I just felt it, like the smugness and the consultant. Yo, okay, you got an education, bro. You know, you weren't speaking to us. You were speaking down to us like you better than it. And I got experience. I went to a Nigerian wedding last year, and them men are very disrespectful unless they want to give you something. And I'm talking whatever. And then after that, you just are a kata, whatever you say. There's no respect. You look at us as slaves. And the way I just heard you speak, you act like you're talking to people beneath you. You judge, bro. You don't. Let me tell you something. When the shit hit the fan, when stuff hit the fan, guess what? They ain't gonna say, are you Black American? Are you from the hood? Or you from Guyana? Or you not that? Or you have the same skin as us, but you have the mentality of white supremacy. And I'm asking you to just take a look at yourself and see why I can hear. And I wasn't even in the room 3 minutes, and I heard the condescending attitude towards us in our struggle. You need to put some respect on that, bro. Just like y'all respect us, you need to respect us. And if we want to what was it, delineation, whatever? Yo, we don't need your permission to do that, bro. I lay it down, please. Yo, that's why it's a problem. Because of y'all tone. We welcome y'all open arms. And y'all treat us like we nothing. Y'all, we slaves. We ain't nobody's slaves. And we darn sure don't need to be disrespected and talked to like slave from a brother from Africa. I'm laying down.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And Miss Lisa, and I know you had asked a question, but let me just give you a quick rundown. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform. We partner with other Black-owned websites, and we curate their news. So we're the largest Black-owned, Black American curation platform today in America. So I know you had asked that question in the comment, and I just wanted to kind of just get you up to speed on that, sister. We go ahead and get to label it. We got label it. We got what else we got?
I didn't mean no disrespect by that. I'm sorry. I've been gone for a minute. I wasn't coming for you. That's why I said no shade, no disrespect.
No problem,
That's
sister.
all. I didn't know.
No problem.
Sorry, I've been gone.
No, you good, sis. I just wanted to let you know. So in case you see some content around here, make sure you go ahead and like it and tweet it out. If you see me tweet it out, go ahead and like that and tweet that comment, tweet the content out as well too, sister. No shade, no problem. Let me go ahead and get to label it, and then we're gonna get to the uncouth, and we're gonna get to the AAP, and we're gonna get to you as well, Art. So go ahead, let's get our new speakers. Label it. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right, family. Yeah, peace. I mean, like, if we get to our lineal body of work, right, and then we understand, because yes, absolutely, I have Africans, in my ancestry. I have white people in my ancestry. Specifically Irish. I have natives. Specifically Chickasaw in my ancestry. So when we get to the lineal body of work, right? When it comes down to skin color, then we can absolutely see that the U.S. government has been racist behind the actual skin tone. We know that from history. So even whether it's the government, either governmental arm, whether it's the tribal nations, whether it's the corporate America. Both of these are two governmental arms that the darker skinned people, on this land, right? They have lineage tied to this land. Which makes us a separate people from just being African or just being Negro or just being, it makes us separate. There's no other people in the world, who we are, right? So our claim looks a little bit different, in the grand scheme of things, right? Now, if like I said, Jimmy Carter was the one who, really signed on, in the 70s. I was born in 77. Now Jimmy Carter was the one who really signed on to the influx, of immigration. And what we seen was, the drug, the crack eras and things like that. So, like, that plays a very big part in the harms, in our communities, in our cities and things. But I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, right? You know what I'm saying? And, like, once we can trace back and look back as to what was actually happening, it was a monumental thing, because prior to that, right? Prior to that influx, that immigrational influx, right? We used to come outside, like everybody on the block, like they had marble steps. So every Sunday we would come out, everybody, parents and mamas and grandmamas would be outside, we barbecuing, blocks locked off, can't even come through. Everybody just cleaning, the marble steps, and it's gleaming, the whole block, and from, the early 80s, going into the 90s, like, it turned into a war zone, just over, like, damn near overnight. Like, when I grew up, like, my adolescent years, it was a different look, than what I had remembered it, right? So, yeah, we gotta understand, who we are and what we are, and grabbing onto these names, as if, we have one lineal line. Like, the fuck is we doing?
Hey, Label, don't curse, bro.
All right, man, my bad. But yeah, I land right there.
All right, appreciate you. Let me go ahead and get to let me get to who is next? Uncouth.
Peace to the room, peace, Newstoter, peace to everyone that is on the sound of my voice. I'm gonna be real short with my soliloquy. Beef. I don't ever think we were never homogeneous as far as culture nor identity. A lot of great past speakers, Love I Am, Art, pretty much broke it down. To the brother that's from the continent of Africa, no disrespect, don't know what country or tribe. This idea that Black Americans are the ones that are holding this hostility towards you guys. Let me give those that don't know how H-1B visas work. Like they work they take the brightest of the brightest. So from the slumlands of these countries, these mud huts and all this other stuff, it takes the brightest of them. Before they're even granted visas, they have trips to U.S. embassies. So this is coming from somebody that's worked in law. I'm not speaking for something that I don't know. So the best of y'all, the brightest of y'all come over here with misconception or the indoctrination of how to keep separate all this other nonsense. So this whole idea that there's no division when y'all come over here, yes it is, because you're the best of the best. We don't get y'all criminals over here. Now we may do with some of this slippage coming through South America, whatever. But from the 60s, the Immigration Act, it was the brightest of the brightest. How do you think you guys was getting into UC Berkeley and Harvard and all of this? So y'all anchor babies, y'all second generation Africans that are over here. Your parents have been in here since the 60s and the 70s. Those are the brightest of the bright. So there was definitely a chain of command of who the United States wants to allow into this country to create dissension amongst its native Negroes versus Africans and Caribbeans through the same acts. So this whole notion of there's not it is purposely put into play through H-1B visas that these type of people are the only ones allowed, and this whole notion of Mexicans are loyal. I think one of the brothers, and excuse me for not referencing you correctly, but he said it best. Is that you guys are very docile. You guys like Jamaicans and Caribbeans was so hell bent when the Queen of England passed away. You guys are so attached to you're attached to the hip of whiteness, Europeanness. You guys will take the best of you, and you will get educated in America, but live in Europe and have doctors and keep your money in Europe and this, that, and the third. You will never. You guys talk about culture and tribalism and this, that, and the third, but you guys don't even man, listen. I don't even want to go through all that, but we can see from document and from watching from this part of the world, and we can see how you guys interact with neighboring states and tribes, with Nigeria, cutting off of power, this and the third. So this whole notion that you guys come over here and that the Black Negroes, we somehow have this anti-African stance when we've never been the same. You guys sold us, and you don't even acknowledge that. Some of y'all come over here, like Sister said, y'all have this contrite condescension in your attitudes towards us. Y'all always want to put up this, y'all the most educated, this, that, and the third, biggest farce. You guys will never, ever.
They haven't been colonized.
Excuse me?
Hey, go ahead and finish up, Uncouth. Real quick, label it. Everybody stay on your mic. Let Uncouth go ahead and get his say in there. He didn't interrupt anybody. Everybody stay on your microphone. My bad, Uncouth. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
I'm gonna go ahead and land this with this. When y'all come over here, y'all know who Negroes is. Y'all know the Black Americans is. Y'all know our achievements. Without us, y'all wouldn't even be over here. So let's keep it a bean about everything. We are the most advanced of any of the Negro melanated racial bloodline, however you want to put it. We are the supreme of all of us from across the world. Nobody can touch what the Black American has done globally, educationally, anything. We are the goalposts, and y'all come over here and y'all just be real disrespectful. So this whole beef thing, it was never no beef because we already know we don't tend to y'all. Y'all come over here, y'all do what y'all do. I'll let him pull my point with that.
All right, appreciate that. Let me go ahead and get to AAP. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I just want to let the brother know I was agreeing when I cut him off. Like that's all I want to let him know. Like, yeah, you was right, brother.
All right. Before I proceed with my key point, can somebody quote which part in the Constitution of the United States that mandates the United States to bring Africans here as a result of the contribution of Black Americans towards Africans being here? I'll be on standby so I can proceed. Can somebody
hold on? Yeah, I'll make it quick for you. We signed the civil rights movement into law, so you can come over here. You're welcome.
All right, yeah, hold on, Pi. Because even before that, right, there were freeborn Africans or black people that came into states like New York, Maryland. Okay. Okay, so hold on. So
hold on, real quick, Label. I'm gonna let you say something real quick, but you just got through speaking for a minute, bro. So you're gonna have to go ahead and mute your mic up so we can go ahead and get to the other speakers up here as well. So go ahead. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to land it, and then we got to go to the next speaker.
Oh, you giving me 30 seconds?
Okay. No, not you, but Label. He was saying something. Why? I'm gonna let you finish what you were saying, but Label. Cool. Yeah, Label, go ahead. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to say what you got to say, and then I got to go back.
Okay, so yeah, to answer that, like, yeah, absolutely. There were free black people that never looked at enslavement coming into this country, right? Okay, so we understand that in history, in hindsight, those were immigrants, right? Okay, so, all right, carry on. Go ahead, let's go.
All right, go ahead, AAP.
Okay, well, Uncle, I would want you to answer that question one more time. Okay, I want you to quote the Constitution, the clause, the section that mandates the United States, emphasis on the word mandates, that obligate the United States to bring Africans here as a result of the civil rights movement. Please go ahead.
Well, since you know it, why don't you tell us?
Everybody, real quick. Let's go ahead and. Let's everybody. I'm muting the mic. I'm muting everybody. Everybody, real quick. Stay on your microphones, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get to you. Okay, we'll get to you.
Miss Lisa, he who alleges must prove.
Go ahead, AAIP. What were you saying?
Sorry, I was double muted. I was saying to Miss Lisa that he who alleges must prove. I'm not the one that made the statement. It was Uncode that made it. So I wanted him to clarify, to be more specific, in which part of the Constitution that states that the United States is obligated or mandated to bring in Africans to the United States as a result of the civil rights movement. I wanted that clarification. Because I do hear this statement all the time, oh, we did this, we did it. There's no problem another black person help another black person as a matter of principle, right? But if you want to delve much into it and make it a statement of fact, I would want to learn. So, yes, go ahead and clarify, sir, so I can go to my next point.
I'm sorry, he really wants someone to answer that question because
sure, yes, go ahead.
The Naturalization Act of 1965. So you need to do not reference the Constitution. The Constitution really doesn't have nothing to do with immigration. We have to go to our acts, our bills in Congress. So the Naturalization Act of 1965, right, and it wasn't the Civil Rights Act. Civil Rights Act was signed in
1968. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I got the wrong date. Go ahead.
I got the right date.
I'm sorry. Civil Rights Act was signed 64, 65. Right after that, the Naturalization Act, where Black Americans, we told them, the United States government, Congress, to add in a quota to allow people, Black people from the diaspora, to come over here. So it was a quota, and it was only for white immigrants out of Europe. And we said that right now, maybe 5% Black people throughout the diaspora allowed, we want that quota to be increased. And that was in 1965 or 66. And during that time, in the late 60s, you see a large number of influx of African immigrants, Haitians, people throughout the Caribbean coming into America. And you saw another big wave of that migration, right? Immigrants coming here in the early 2000s. So that is the law that Black Americans, ADOS, freedmen, FBA, fought, died for you to come over here.
Okay, so if I heard you correctly, you said the
Naturalization Act of 1965. Yes. It wasn't 65, it was 66. You could go look it up and you could read it. It's several pages.
If I heard you correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying that the Black Americans advocated for the quota to be increased. Is that the case? Yes,
because you were not allowed to come over here. Yes.
Hold on. You're saying that no. I just want to see. It's better to clarify. The law was in existence. Black folks were already coming here. However,
no, you were not.
Respectfully.
No, you were not. You were only coming here. You are only coming here less than 1%. Okay. And on top of that, in order for you to come here, wait. In order for you to come here, they made you. When I'm talking about you, I'm talking about Black people throughout the diaspora. You had to do more tests, and you had to fit more quotas. So they made it harder or non-existent for you to come here.
Okay, so now let me also bring you here. You said you advocated it was less than 1%. So already there was something, in existence, right?
Very, very minute. Very minute, she's saying.
Wait, slow down, because AAP, slow down, because you don't understand the history of immigration. We already had immigration laws. The immigration laws catered for white Europeans.
Ma'am, respectfully, you cannot state as a matter of fact that Black Africans started coming here.
I just told you, go and research for yourself, and I told you where to go. It's the Naturalization Act.
You're not.
You don't pull sir.
Hey, right this second, we're gonna let Dana and AAP speak, and then everybody else will get a chance. So go ahead, and we're gonna get to them. Art, I know you was actually next as well too, so I'm gonna go ahead and get to you, and then we're gonna get to some of the new speakers up here as well too. But nobody come off your microphones. Keep your microphone muted, else I'm gonna have to drop you down because everybody keeps coming off, and I keep telling them not to. So keep your microphone muted. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, you asked a question, I answered it, I told you where to go, what act, what law to go look up. I'm telling you the quotas, and you still don't want to believe it. You don't.
You're not listening to my side of the story, man. You're not listening. My point is, you're saying that Black Americans advocated for the quota to be increased, right? That's what you're saying.
We advocated for the quota to be increased to include you.
Ma'am, but prior to that, Black Africans were coming here.
No, you were not. And I told you,
you're talking about. Ma'am, hold on.
10 Africans that were coming here, and I'm talking about a very small number. You were coming here, and you were coming here under strenuous reasons. You was coming here, and you had to qualify. Your quota was, you had to qualify under an extreme quota than other.
Hey Dana, real quick, Dana, let him finish, so then you can go ahead and answer it. Yeah, but let him go ahead and finish anyway, so then you can come back.
First of all, let me debunk that proposition from the lady saying that Black Americans are the reason why Black Africans started coming here. It is not true. Not supported by any fact. It's just her opinion on it, and therefore I will leave it as a sweeping comment. Secondly, it appears that she doesn't know the procedures of which one would have to go through to get here. Indeed, it is even much stricter now than it was back in the days. Now it is complicated, super complicated. They ask me for a lot of things because they barely don't want much of us to be here. All right, so do your research well. And back in the days, it was much easier. I think even there was a point in time where you don't even need a visa. All you needed was a ticket to get here. But now you have to go to the aisle in the middle. They need to check your bank statement, make sure that your bank account is good, make sure that you're responsible. You have something doing back home. Like, it's a lot. Okay, so I'll move on from there. There's a gentleman that also made a statement that said that they bring the brightest of the brightest here. Palpable false. However, the brightest of the brightest, they have so much pride they don't even want to be anywhere than their homeland. What you see here that you call the brightest of the brightest is the average. Somebody like me, I'm just an average person, because I know a lot of bright folks that when you tell them to come here, they say, for what? To do what? They'll pose a lot of questions to you because they're good where they at, and they don't want to be in somebody's lane. So let's keep it a buck. If you open the floodgate, you will see millions of brightest that will blow your mind on the continent. It will blow your mind. What you see that you think it's all up in your head, no. It's just the basics. Somebody like me, just the fundamentals of it. Now.
Okay, real quick, AAP, because y'all been going for a minute. Go ahead and get ready to land your plane.
In finalizing the statement, all right? My position is this. I believe in, I'm a Pan-Africanist, therefore I believe in, the unity of our black folks worldwide, and I stand on it. However, the question is, would you want to be part of the team that we want to build global blackness to have some power and also rule, or you just want to be, by yourself? If you want to be by yourself, hey, to God be with us all. If you want to join the movement where, black folks empower everybody worldwide, hey, I'm in that boat. That's it.
All right. Hell no, we don't want to be a part of that, because of the fact is that, and this is the problem that we're having. And I'm not going to talk long, because everybody that got their hand up, they're about to light your ass up. And I want to open up the floodgates for everybody to light his ass up, because you let people from other countries talk long enough. No, don't interrupt me, because I'll let you.
I was interjected a couple of times.
I'll let you talk. Let me talk.
Okay, we need to go ahead and move on. So let her speak, AA, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move the conversation around because we got some hands up.
No, we got some hands up. So your ass about to get lit up, because number one, you asked the question, where in the Constitution? It's not in the Constitution, sir. You haven't even read the United States Constitution. You can't even tell me how many amendments we have or number of Bill of Rights. That is a law that was passed, the Naturalization Act. Go look it up and research it. You look at the numbers of black people throughout the diaspora. Let's just stick with the continent of Africa that were here in 1965 and the numbers that came afterwards. Numbers don't lie. You don't do the research. You don't know. But because you want to say you debunked me, that lets me know your arrogance. You don't know our history. So everything you saying, and when you said you was a Pan-Africanist, that makes sense. We don't want to unite with you, because you, with your arrogance and your unintelligence and your lack of knowledge of United States history and our Constitution, lets me know that you think you are better than us. You don't even know nothing about the Naturalization Act. You're trying to say that I don't know what I'm talking about, and that's the problem. So I'm going to land my plane, and every hand raised up, I want you to stay your ass up on this panel as speakers so you can take that heat. Because that's exactly what I'm talking about, exposing a lot of you different Africans coming over here, and you don't know the U.S. Constitution, you don't know the laws, and you don't know the history.
Okay. Thank you, Dana. Let me go ahead and get to Art. I know you had Art. We're going to go ahead and kind of speed it up a little bit. I'm going to give you 2 minutes because we got a lot of hands up and you spoke a couple times before. So go ahead, Art.
Yeah, I just wanted to correct the record about somebody said something about race. I sent them something on a dissertation on it, and I put it in the comments. Again, I'm going to keep saying it a million times. Race is a German ideology. I'm open to seeing, somebody, instead of saying something, citing something that can prove otherwise. But I guarantee I'll cite something that's older in the German thing, because it really is hardcore in the German culture. So it will be very hard to find it. And I would argue it dates almost into the disease. So, yeah, German ideology is as German ideology does, and it's ethnocidal in nature. So when you get a lot of these immigrants trying to throw race up, when it's clearly a European construct, you got to wonder if they're working with Europeans. I'm just being real on that. And I'll end it because it's a lot, man.
All right. Thank you, Art. Thank you. We're gonna get to some of the new speakers in here. Cadillac, go ahead and unmute your mic. Cadillac, can we get you a little bit louder because I can't hardly hear you.
Can y'all hear me now?
I can hear you a little bit better. You got Bluetooth in anything? Give Cadillac a second. Try to get a.
Oh, that ass left the stage. I see.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you a lot better now. What's going on?
Yeah, shout out to you, bro. Shout out to WPI. I mispronounced it. What up? What's up, though, bro? How you been, man? All good, all good. Yeah, I won't be long, bro. Man, that dude, I ain't gonna say that, but bro, you talking about how's it in the Constitution? Nick, the Constitution from the 1776 is what you talking about, bro. They ain't had no immigration. Constitution in the 1770s, bro. Is you tripping? Like, bro, like that goes to show he don't know what he talking about. He just talking. He think he knows something. He think he's smart. He think he done wiggled through and got through the cracks. You lucky if you is over here, because you was a dummy. Like, bro, you don't know the Bill of Rights. You don't know nothing about that, bro. You just gonna be a jibber jabber, bro. But that's what I can't really say, bro. The Constitution from the 1700s, bro. It ain't got nothing to do with immigration, nigga. You know they wasn't letting no black people from Africa over here. They was, nigga, you was still slavery, damn near what? Somewhere around there. If you came, you was a slave. Talking about the Constitution, strip. Get back to the field. Get back to the field, nigga. No.
Real talk. Appreciate that, Cadillac. Let me go ahead and get to is that Jalil?
Thank you, it's JL.
JL, I'm sorry about that, sweetie.
No problem. So people always create this narrative like
JL, can we get you a little bit louder if possible, sweetie?
Is this better?
That's better.
Okay. People always create this narrative that the diaspora wars have started back, you know, the tension is high again. I feel like social media is one of those places where, whether we like it or not, people show their true colors in certain ways. For instance, even when it comes to these fake skits, you still get to see how people react to the fake skits that they think are real. I think that's another way to kind of describe the diaspora war. It's like this tension that's always there, but you don't really see it sometimes until you get on social media. And that's why when people have a platform to speak on other cultures and speak on how they feel, that's why you see all these diaspora wars, quote unquote, on social media. However, it's a reflection of what we feel in life. In general, other cultures have a bedside manner that is not like Black Americans. You know what I mean? It's different. Their attitude is a little different than us. And I feel like social media is just the place that we all come to kind of be real about it. But I don't think it ever goes away. For instance, just like how that man was, it's almost like people treat us like a abused child or something. Like, go ahead, sweet kids, just go in the closet, turn off the lights. And it's like, no, I don't want to turn off the lights. I actually want to wake up why every time we have these discussions with certain people, they don't even try to act like they want to learn our history. It's like the word I'm looking for is dismissive, right in your face, while they claim, oh, we're all alike, just go, just settle down, everybody simmer down, let's stop the beefs. But it's like the disrespect never stops, the compassion is never there, the understanding is never there. Still, after all these years, we've been having these conversations. So I'll continue to say, like, you could say we're all the same people, but even in these conversations that we have, it's the little things that show why we are not. Because the understanding is not even there. Like, the lady broke down, the law or whatever, and he just he didn't care. You understand? It's it's like the undermining at the same time of acting like you're my friend that I can't see past it. And it's like, it's not even a beef at this point. It just kind of is what it is. Like, at what point are we even going to see the wants to get to understand where we're coming? We don't even get that. So I'll land it there. But yeah, it's just, I can't even find the word for it. It's like the deflecting, wow, hush, hush, just go in the closet. Everything's okay. It's sinister.
All right. Thank you, sweetie. I appreciate it. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna get to the hands that's up, guys, and then we're gonna go ahead and close the space out for the night. So let me go ahead and get to the hands that's up. Miss Lisa, I'm gonna go ahead and get to you. Go ahead and unmute your mic, and I'm gonna give you guys about 2-3 minutes to speak. Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to pour the record. Oh, I'm sorry.
What's that, DJ?
No, the timer is on.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Miss Lisa.
Okay, July 2nd of 1964, that's when we got the same rights as a white man. August of 1965, that's when the Voter Rights Act came in. Actually, the naturalization, oh my God, I always get stuck on words sometimes. Naturalization actually enacted in 1868. It was enacted for white people. Okay, my whole problem with him was he came in like, I heard it immediately. Like, you're condescending, you're being nasty, you're being rude, and you acting like you want to learn, you want to be our friend. No, we always have our arm open for everybody, but nobody has their arms open for us. And that shit is tiring, because we supported Africa more than anybody. And then you have to come over here and act like you could speak to somebody like that. It is so wrong. It's so disrespectful. That's why sometimes I can't stand these rooms, because it's like you just came in here just to hurt somebody because maybe you hurt it. Because I think that's what he just did. Just come and create feelings, because he don't have no feelings about himself. Bottom line, he was just really a disgusting, horrible, mean, spiteful, hateful person, and I felt it as soon as I came in the room. Good night, everybody. I'm laying it down.
All right. Thank you, Miss Lisa. Appreciate it. Let me go ahead and get to Big Smoke. I'm gonna let you go ahead and get it in tomorrow night, guys. Catch us for the interview we're gonna have with a black farmer from Atlanta who is going through issues down there with losing his property, land theft, fighting the system, and everything else as well. So we'll be on 8:00 tomorrow. Make sure you guys catch us for the interview with the Atlanta farmer fighting to keep his property in the face of what looks to be suspected white supremacy. Let me go ahead and get to go ahead, Big Smoke.
Peter made some valid points about how Africans, it's very, very, very difficult to come into America because America doesn't want a mass influx of Africans to come here like in America, because what Donald Trump said before, which you gotta spill the beans. He said he doesn't want people who come from this part of the world to come here to America. So I checked the stats. Here in the United States, there's like 2 million African immigrants that immigrated here. So, there's like 1 million that were naturalized, and there's like 1.5 million that's not. But to come here since I'm African, so I understand how all this this visa process works. I was actually born here, but my parents told me of how the entire processing goes. They say for them to come here to America, they sometimes she told me that they have to make up a lot of lies, basically. Like, you lie about your age, you lie, about why you're coming here, and it's a big hope, that you get accepted, because the entire visa process, it's kind of biased, like, in a way. But some folks, they get lucky, for a visa lottery. So whoever got a chance and won that type of lottery, they can come to America and build themselves up. But like when Africans do come here, not all, but from my experience, like, there is some folks that does have a bias towards Black Americans, like, from what I hear, like, and there's some folks that who fully respects Black Americans when they arrive here. So it depends on the person, basically. Like, you got good people, you got bad people, so on. But I'll lay my point on that.
All right. Thank you, Big Smoke. I appreciate it. Mouthpiece, I know you had your hand up. Did you want to speak?
No, I'm good for right now.
Okay, because we're getting ready to close it out in a second. That's why I'm trying to let you, if you want to speak, go ahead and get it in now. If not, then you can always catch us in another space. Let me go ahead and get to let me see. Let's go ahead and get to Love I Am, guys. Also, for those that can, remember to support on Cash App, $, Newstoter, $, Love I Am. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hi. So I wanted to point out that America has engaged in a narcissistic relationship with the American Negro people. And so they literally exploited us for free labor. The Negro body was the first capital to make this a capitalist infrastructure. And then once they were able to build up an empire, they discarded us. So what they do is they actually incentivize other groups to come to the nation and deal with us shrewdly in the same regard. How I can indicate whether something is narcissism is when a relationship with another group requires one of the groups to always be the bigger person within the dynamic. And so when you have the American Negro people and we're engaging with these African people, they are always engaging with us from a place of devaluation. They have to discount our history. They have to discount our contributions to the nation. They have to downplay our accomplishments. They have to downplay the things that we achieve. We're literally Olympiads. We're inventors. We've literally had our intellectual property stolen from us. We have contributed so much to the fabric of this nation, and these people still have the audacity to say, stay away from the Ikata. So this is narcissism. And so what is happening is that what once started off as them rejecting us, oh, we're not Black American, we're Nigerian, we're blah, 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 has now turned into they're being exposed for who they actually are, and Black Americans are really rejecting them now. So it's funny because rejection is protection, and it was probably healthy that they didn't view us the same, because now it's caused us to see the significance and delineating and cleaving to our ancestry, to our history, because these people have no problem coming over here, engaging with us from that point of devaluing us, scapegoating us. You literally have African people coming over here weaponizing statistics against us. Like, number one, they don't come from nations that are in deplorable positions, and then number two, conditions rather, and then number two, the data here is not even disaggregated. So every crime stat that is about us, they are included in at this point. So what America has done has created an opportunity for people to come and reinvent themselves, totally evade the conditions of their home country, and then they are incentivized to think that they are doing something more than what we have done historically, and they don't have any incentive, to be honest,
about the facts that we are laying out to them. So at this point, I think that we should just disengage from the narcissistic dynamic because it's always the undertone of this relationship, and you can almost tell who descends from who. If you have
we gotta land it, sister.
okay, yeah. So you have people who are literally descend from slave sellers who come over here and think that they're better than us, and that's just unacceptable in my opinion. So thank you.
Okay, no problem, sister. Real quick, guys, because we're wrapping up, so let's do it 2 minutes or less. The Uncouth, go ahead and unmute your mic, and we're gonna be getting up out of here in a second.
Thank you, Newstoter, for allowing me to come back and speak. The brother, he ain't calling him brother. He already removed himself from the stage, but I like to call it the Coming to America factor. You will not find no African from the continent that has been here since the 60s and 70s without postgraduate degrees. I will say that again. You will not find a Nigerian, a Cameroonian, a Guyanese, a Kenyan, an Egyptian. You will not find one over here without a postgraduate degree, meaning that they got at least 2 minimum. That was the standard. So I don't know this whole, some guy out here was talking about his parents lied to him. Listen, if your parents finessed, they finessed their way over here, they was the best finesses in their country or their tribe or their hood, whoever they was. Y'all didn't get over here by the grace of the white Jesus. Let's just put it out there. Like, come on, keep that cap somewhere else. Y'all come over here with that undermine that mentality, man. And I'm sorry that your parents didn't elaborate how they really got over here. They conned their way over here. They probably had a little bit of money, and I pretty much guarantee they got some degrees too. That's how the visa system worked from the 60s. It's to this day. It's lottery based, whatever. But all this beef stuff, man, y'all ain't nobody trying to really merge and kumbaya with y'all, because we already know. Like Love I Am just said, and shout out to the fellow Aquarius that just came up here on the stage. Shout out to you. Yeah, we already know what's going on. Y'all sold us. So how we don't have no this mindset of, oh, we forgot. We know what's going on. So when it comes to this beef, that's one-sided. Pan-Africans, y'all can Marcus Garvey get away situations out of some stuff, but we good over here. We know what we build and what we contribute to the world fabric of innovation, art, culture. We already know who we are. It's evident. You got Burna Boy over here that's ripping.
Hey, we gotta land it, Uncouth.
I'm a land.
Shout out to the Aquarians. I call you back.
Shout out. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and land. Appreciate the time, Newstoter, and I have on my chair.
No problem. Dana, go ahead and unmute your mic. I'm gonna get to you next, Rerah.
Yeah, just real quick, I put in the Jumbotron, and I want that AAPP, whoever the hell, fake ass Pan-Africanism, to click it, read it, study it, and understand it. So what you're not going to do, and nobody's not going to do, you're not going to sit up here and debunk facts. If you don't come with facts, then you just need to have several seats and shut up. So I put it in the Jumbotron. It was under Lyndon B. Johnson when they revised it, and they got rid of the discriminatory practices that kept the unwanted ones out. And the ones that were here, the little 5 or 100 of Africans were here. Those are the wealthy Africans that were able to pay their way to come here to go to school for their education, and they were still treated better than the Black Americans. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Dana. Let me get the Rerah. Rerah, what's going on? How you doing tonight?
Hey, Newstoter. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Peace and blessings to the family. Reparations. Y'all already know. I just wanted to tap in and say something really quickly. This whole, them coming over here and building themselves up. If it's one thing that I've seen in 2023 is that's not real. Everybody comes over here and they get assistance. They get loans. They get welfare. They get things to help them sustain themselves. So them coming over here and saying, oh, well, we did it, how come you couldn't do it? Because it's a systemic. And it's like arguing with them and them telling us that we need to learn their history. No, I'm not in your country. You need to learn my history. Everything that Apaya said, everything that all of them are saying is stuff that we've already heard. Every issue that they had in Africa, we have heard. We have studied. There's not much about Africa that we don't know. And so for them to come over here and just act like they're completely blindsided and, oh, you guys really are lazy. How are you saying that we're lazy when we're working right next to you? We're working right next to you. You know, the talking points are white supremacists. And it's just very disingenuous. You know what I mean? There's nobody coming to America right now pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. Literally, African Americans, Black Americans, Negro Americans, we are the only people who had to do it. And we're still doing it to this day. And I'm not asking for them to come over here after they left, you know, their impoverished places, and now, you know, they think that we want us to fight with them. No, we don't want y'all to fight with us, but we don't want y'all to fight against us. I really don't understand how that's hard to understand. Everything that happened in Africa, we heard. We put our boots to the ground. We protested. You know, and it shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be us always having to say, hey, please understand. Please. No. They think that we're privileged. We're privileged because we invented things that the whole world uses now. No one would have a toilet if it wasn't for us. No one would have a washing machine. No one would have a toaster. The things that we have done in this country that have spread globally is the reason why they feel like we're privileged. We're not privileged because white people gave us privileges. We're privileged because we invented things and we did things in this country that are now used globally. And I'll land there, Newstoter, because I understand that you're trying to close. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
No problem. Thank you, sweetie. Let me go ahead and get to Black, and we're going to get ready to close this thing out for the night. Black, go ahead. You got it.
Okay, awesome. So I wanted to correct one thing. The one guy said something about 1 or 2 million Africans in the country. That is not accurate. The last, and this is based on the 2020 census, is that 1 in 5 Black people in the U.S. are immigrants or children of immigrants. So that's first and second generation. And there's likely a third generation out there. So it's somewhere closer to 10 million. Shout out to Dana, and I think Uncommon put it in the chat. That 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act is called the Hart-Celler Act. And it absolutely did what Miss Dana said. But this is what is so amazing about these conversations is this 1924 Immigration Act. I had never looked into this, but this guy sort of inspired it. So the reality is this, he can run back and tell these Africans and these Caribbeans this, that if not for Black Americans' fight in our enslavement, to release ourselves from enslavement, to fight in the Civil War, they would have never been allowed to come in the country. And this Immigration Act of 1924 explains why. This Immigration Act limited the number of immigrants allowed entry into the United States through a national origins quota. The quota provided visas to only 2% of the total number of people of each nationality in the United States as of the 1890 census. And what that is literally saying is 1890 census would have come up with a number of how many Black American, African, whatever they would have termed us at that time. 2% of that total would have been the allowable amount of Africans to come into the country. And this is why the numbers were so low. Another thing is that the 1924 Immigration Act also included a provision excluding from entry any alien by virtue of race or nationality that was ineligible for citizenship. So in 1890 and by 1924, obviously, we had gained our citizenship through our Civil War and our enslavement fight to get out of the enslavement. So again, this 1924 Immigration Act really points to the fact that had we not fought back, had we not gained our citizenship in this country, these Africans would have never been allowed in the country. And then that Hart-Celler Act just expanded the grace to these people based on our existence in this country. So I'll end on that.
Okay, I think it was J.L. I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Yes, really quick, 20 seconds or less. I just wanted to say, I love what everyone has said tonight, but love I am. Shout out to you for using, narcissism in the correct way. It's definitely a, host parasite type relationship. And I think that needs to be woken up and talked about more. I feel like so that when we use certain words, we know how to actually spot that. But you're so right. It's a very narcissistic relationship that we're seeing here. So shout out to that. I definitely think we need to wake that up in Black America. That's another story for another time. But shout out to everyone, and peace and love to every Black American that gets it.
Thank you. Tomorrow night, guys, make sure y'all join us because we're gonna have a special space, an interview, like I said, with the Atlanta farmer who is pretty much on the verge of losing everything that he had. He's getting screwed over by the system, allegedly, I want to say. So this farmer, he'll be in the actual space tomorrow night to actually tell his story. As part of the series that Miss Giselle has going for it called Guilty Until Proven Guilty. Definitely catch us tomorrow night. We're going to be tweeting that out tomorrow and everything. So you guys make sure you join us 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Twitter. For those on YouTube, you guys join us around 8:10. We'll be going live over there. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you to all the speakers, the co-hosts, the listeners. Thank you to everybody who supported on Cash App and PayPal. It's getting late, so I'm about to get the hell up out of here. So I'll holler at y'all tomorrow and see y'all tomorrow night. Peace. Have a good one.
Peace.
All right. Shout out to my people on YouTube. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Y'all have a good one. Check us for that special space with the Atlanta Black Farmer. Peace.